Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel. And welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. Today we're playing Sentinels of the Multiverse. So in this game, you play basically comic book superheroes. You're trying to take down a villain at one of several different environments. So this is similar. This is on the same vein as Marvel and DC universe, Marvel and the DC universes, but just with a very different set of heroes. So that's the basic idea of the game. This video will start off with going through the hero, going through the villain, then each of our heroes, learning a little bit more of their backstory, and then we'll get into the game. So the way the game itself works is divided into phases. You'll have a villain phase where the villain does its thing. It'll draw a card from its deck, it'll play a card from its deck. Then any of the effects it has go off at the end of turn. Then we repeat that for the hero decks, and then the environment has a turn as well. So let's go ahead and get started with meeting today's nemesis. Here we have the villain that we're going up against today. We're taking on Gloomweaver. Based on the number in the upper right corner of the character card, he starts off with 90 HP. Now I should talk about these character cards for a second. These actually don't come with the game. There's an extra promo version that you can buy if you don't like the normal size cards. I like these a lot better just because it's easier to put all the tokens on there. But that's why I have those. The game does come with standard size villain cards, but like I said, I like these better. So we see villain Nightmare Walker. The symbol isn't relevant for the time being. Ignore this symbol, but don't go too far with it because that is going to become relevant later on. So we have some setup stuff to do, which I'll explain a little bit more about when we move over to the villain area. At the start of the game, put Gloomweaver's villain character card into play, Nightmare Walker side up. So that's the side that we're on right now. Search the villain deck for H zombie cards and put them into play. Shuffle the villain deck. I've already done so. H is similar to, as you've seen with the investigator symbol in Arkham Horror, the card game. That just represents the number of heroes. So in this case, we're playing with 4 heroes, as you might have noticed from the starting screenshot. From the starting shot. So that's what we've got there. Then during gameplay, at the start of the villain turn, if there are 3 villain relics in play, flip Gloomweaver's villain character card. So most of these, excuse me, most of these heroes or villains do have an effect that can cause you to flip them over. Usually on the flip side, they become a lot more dangerous, so you want to try to avoid them flipping if you can help it. But then at the start of the villain turn, if there are 3 villain relics in the villain trash, the heroes win. And whenever a cultist is destroyed, you search the villain trash for a zombie card and put it into play. We're not going to worry about the advanced rule, because all the advanced rule is, it's just a higher level difficulty of the game. So if you want to play it a level up, then you use the advanced rules. So in addition to everything else that you already do. But that will do it for Gloomweaver. Now let's go meet our heroes. Before we transition over to the heroes, we actually do have some official bios straight from the official rulebook. So, for Gloomweaver, the extra-dimensional entity known as Gloomweaver feeds on the despair of mankind. He forces his thoughts and powers into this world by waking the nightmares of the living, but has failed to permanently breach the veil that separates him from the feast of desperate souls that our world offers. But that is all about to change. Following cult leader Massey, the children of the Gloom have begun collecting Gloomweaver's terrible relics: a pouch, a drum, and a grimoire. If all 3 are brought together and the demon god invoked, the planar seals will be broken. Gloomweaver and his worshippers will spread gloom, despair, and death across the multiverse indefinitely. So yeah, that sounds like something we want to try to stop if we can, for obvious reasons. But anyway, that will do it for Gloomweaver. Now let's go meet our heroes. So here's our first character, our first hero, the Wraith. Now, similar to the oversized villain cards I've got, these character cards are actually foil versions. They come with the game does come with normal character cards, but I like the foil ones a little bit better, just because they pop a little more. So similar to what you see, what we saw on the villain card earlier, there's a starting HP. It's located in a different spot, though. It's located under the Sentinel Comics logo. In this case, we see Wraith starts with 27 HP. So she does have a power. Reveal the top card of the environment deck, discard or play it. So that's basically part of the hero turn, is you'll start off with any start of turn effects, then play a card, then you can use a power, then you draw a card at the end of your turn. Alternatively, you can skip your entire turn to draw 2 cards. But there are not a lot of times where you'll want to do that, but that is always an option on the table. So the Wraith, if you've ever seen DC, think Batman, basically. That was the character that I was referenced when I first got into Sentinels of the Multiverse. But anyway, now let's meet a little bit more about the Wraith. Let's learn a little bit more about the Wraith. Highly focused from a young age, Maya Adriana Montgomery excelled in school, graduating with degrees in both engineering and mathematics at age 17. Walking home from grad school one night, Maya fell victim to random gang violence. Her boyfriend was killed and she was hospitalized for weeks. Upon recovering, she vowed never to be a victim again. Leveraging her family's wealth to hire trainers from many disciplines of combat, Maya began patrolling Rook City at night as the Wraith, protecting those in her city who could not protect themselves. As a surprise graduation present, her parents gave her the reins to Montgomery Industries. Now, Maya must balance 2 lives. By day, the world's youngest CEO. By night, the protector of Rook City and the Freedom Five's 4th member. So, the Freedom Five, at least in the DC universe, think the Justice League. I don't know what the comparison is to Marvel, because I've never been the biggest Marvel fan in the world. But, anyway. So, each hero also at the start of the game has a starting hand of 4 cards, so we'll go through each of those while we're meeting each of our heroes. So, the first card in Wraith's hand is... Razor Ordnance. As a power, Wraith deals 1 target 3 projectile damage. Second card. Grappling Hook. Destroy 1 ongoing or environment card. You may draw a card. This will come in very handy if we get something dangerous that we need to get rid of. Third up. Utility Belt. You may use an additional power during your power phase. Okay, this is gonna get very out of hand in a hurry, I'm sure. Then the last card up. Trust Fund. Draw 4 cards, then discard 2. So, yeah, that'll be... I have a feeling Wraith is going to take over this game pretty quickly, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. That will do it for Wraith. Now let's go meet the next hero that we're using. Alright, here's our second hero, Fanatic. Now, Fanatic has a mechanic that I really like to her, where she's basically a paladin, but she also has aspects where she can hurt herself to help do additional damage or other effects. So that's how Fanatic plays. Her power, she deals a target 1 melee damage and 1 radiant damage. Now, we need to be careful with this power, because there are plenty of effects that cause damage to be reduced in this game. And because of how that power is worded, it's basically 2 separate instances of damage. Any damage reduction effects would apply to both of them. So we do need to be very careful about that. But anyway, now let's learn a little bit more about Fanatic. 6-year-old Helena was hit by a bus in the streets of Lima, Peru. By all rights, she should not have even survived the ambulance ride. More miraculously still, after being declared dead in the hospital for exactly 3 minutes, she sat up, speaking of heavenly visions and a divine mission. With no known family or memories from before the accident, Helena was placed in the care of a local convent at her own request. Puberty brought an unusual change for her. Giant, white, feathery wings sprang forth from her back. When she dramatically revealed her transformation during Mass, she was driven from the convent. Taking refuge in hidden catacombs under Lima, she stumbled upon an ancient reliquary. Here she donned the armor of a Templar, taking up the sword to launch her holy crusade to purge the world of evil. So that's a little bit more about the backstory of Fanatic. Now let's take a look at her opening hand. Her first card, Sanctifying Strike. Fanatic deals 1 target and 1 melee damage. You may draw a card. Fanatic regains 1 HP. We'll go through... There's flavor text on a lot of these. We'll go through those when we actually play them. Second card up. End of Days. At the start of the environment turn, destroy all cards in play other than this card, character cards, and relics. Then, destroy this card. So that's potentially going to be a non-bow. That could be a non-bow with some of our other heroes. We'll have to keep an eye on that, though. Alright, third card. Absolution. Equipment Relic Limited. Well, I'll explain those keywords as they come up during the game. When this card enters play, Fanatic regains 1 HP. Power. Select Melee, Fire, or Radiant as this card's damage type. Fanatic deals one target 3 damage of that type. Last card up. Divine Focus. At the start of every turn, you may discard a card. If you do, Fanatic deals the villain target with the highest HP 2 radiant damage. At the start of your turn, Fanatic may deal herself 4 fire damage. If she takes no damage this way, destroy this card. So we'll have to play around with her HP a little bit, but that will do it for Fanatic. Now let's go meet the third member of this team. Alright, so here's the third member of our team, Akash'Thriya. Akash'Thriya is basically a plant heroine who is going to help us by screwing around with the environment deck. But anyway, so she starts with 50 HP, which is by far the most that we've seen on the team, higher than even Fanatic's 30. Her power, Dormant Essence. Power, put a primordial seed from your hand or trash into the environment trash. Draw a card. So basically she gets to draw 2 cards if she uses that power. But anyway, first card in her opening hand. One with the land, ongoing limited. Whenever a primordial seed is destroyed, you may move it to the environment trash. Whenever a hero target would be dealt damage by an environment card, you may redirect that damage to a primordial seed. So that'll be handy when if we need to get seeds out of the way and we can't do anything with them. Second card. Another copy of One with the Land, which we just went through, so I won't go through that again. Alright, Thrashing Brambles, ongoing limited. Increased damage dealt by primordial seeds by 1. As a power, Akash'Thriya deals herself and up to X targets 2 melee damage and 2 toxic damage, where X equals the number of primordial seeds in play plus 1. Now, if you have multiple cards that have power in them, you don't get to use each of them. You get to use 1 power. So in this case, we could either use this power or Akash'Thriya's default hero power. So you don't get to break the game that way. And Instantaneous Maturation. As a one-shot, Akash'Thriya deals herself 2 psychic damage. Search your deck for a primordial seed, put it on top of the environment deck, shuffle your deck. Play the top card of the environment deck. Either play a card or shuffle the environment trash into the environment deck. Alright, so that will let us just grab a seed right out of the deck and put it right on top. Anyway, a little bit more about Akash'Thriya. Akash'Bhuta, who's actually another villain in the game, goes dormant for decades between attacks on humanity, regrowing and regaining power after defeat. But, with her planet at stake, she is reformed early with the help of the Naturalist. This new form of the Earth Spirit is far less powerful, not having recovered fully, but she is desperate to save her world. As Akash'Thriya, she joins the fight to save all worlds. So we have a reformed villain with the world at stake. How typical. But anyway, that will do it for Akash'Thriya. Now let's go meet the last member of our foursome. Here's the last of our team today, Nightmist. She starts off with 28 HP, which I've represented on the tokens. Her power is Attunement. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, put them back on top of your deck in any order. So that just lets her fix her draws, is what that does. But you remember when I was talking about Gloomweaver, how I talked about the symbol on Gloomweaver? In fact, let me bring Gloomweaver back in shot here, just so you can see. Alright, so you might remember that Gloomweaver had a symbol on his card right about there. Nightmist has that same symbol. What that symbol means is these two are nemeses of each other. So they'll be doing 1 extra damage to each other. So that will be something we need to keep an eye on throughout the game. But I mostly wanted to kind of tie that loose end back as far as the symbols go. I said that was going to become relevant, and now it is. So we do need to keep an eye on that. But Nightmist is basically Nightmist is another character who hurts herself for some kind of effect. But let's go ahead and take a look at her starting hand, then we'll learn a little bit more about Nightmist. Then I think we'll be ready to start the game, and then we'll start with the villain turn. So, let's go through Nightmist's hand. Planar Banishment, one-shot spell. Nightmist deals herself that card's red star damage. That'll always be down here toward the lower left corner of the card. You may destroy up to that card's red ongoing and or environment cards. Put the revealed cards into your trash. Next up, Elder Ring. Increase damage dealt by Nightmist by 1. As a power, draw a card, destroy this card. Then we have Master of Magic. Whenever you play a spell card, Nightmist regains that card's red symbol HP. And Mistfield Recovery. As a one-shot, shuffle a hero's trash into that hero's deck. Nightmist regains 1 HP for each 2 cards shuffled into that hero's deck by this card. Immediately end your turn. Alright, so not real exciting opening hand, but let's meet Nightmist a little bit more. Faye Diamond took over Diamond Investigations after her father retired. She delved into the agency's files, researching the missing person case of her grandfather, Joe. Her findings brought her to Arkham, Massachusetts, and the workings of a coven. Here, for the first time, she encountered the occult and magical relics, which resulted in Faye being cursed with a mostly incorporeal form. One night, while Faye was poring over a tome of elder magic, there was a rapid knocking at the door to Diamond Investigations. Tachyon had gathered information about paranormal investigators and had come seeking the help of the best, Faye Diamond. Taking the name Nightmist, Faye assisted the Freedom Five in turning back the first assault of terror from the villainous entity known as Gloomweaver. And now Gloomweaver has returned to try to threaten the world once again. But that will do it for our heroes. We'll get into the environment deck as we go along. Now let's get this game started, and we'll start with the villain turn. Here we are over at the villain area. So, as I mentioned when I was going through Gloomweaver's setup, we had to search the villain deck for eight zombie cards and put them into play. And I have four zombies out here. So let's go ahead and go through one of these zombie servants. So, Zombie Servant, 2 HP, and I'll get the tokens in a minute. Zombie. At the end of the villain turn, this card deals the non-villain target with the highest HP, H-2 melee damage. Zombies, Nightmist number 41. So that's just referencing a fictional comic in the Sentinel Comics universe. But I do need to grab 2 HP tokens for each of these zombies. So there's the 2, 2, 2, and 2. Now, the start and end of turn action, the tokens that I'm using there, those are extra tokens that you can buy. They don't actually come with the game, which is somewhat surprising because it makes bookkeeping as far as who acts when so much easier. But those are tokens you can buy to help you track the start versus end of turn actions. So, we check Gloomweaver's character card at the start of the villain turn. If there are 3 villain relics in play, there are not. Flip Gloomweaver's villain character card, so we don't have to worry about that. At the start of the villain turn, if there are 3 villain relics in the trash, heroes win. Obviously, there isn't anything in the trash yet because the game just started. So, let's go ahead and get our first villain card. So we start off with a Profane Zealot. 5 HP, Cultist. Reduce damage dealt to villain targets by 1. Whenever a target other than this card is destroyed, this card regains HP, so it's going to regain 4 HP when something else gets destroyed. The Gloom of Death serves the master in many ways. Death Rattle, the Fabric of Despair number, 3. Alright, so we need a 5 HP for that. He isn't going to do anything, thankfully. But he is going to be a problem that we probably need to deal with right away. So, But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So at the end of the villain turn, Gloomweaver doesn't do anything. But each of these zombie servants will be dealing the non-villain target with the highest HP, H-2. So Akash'Thriya at 50 is going to end up taking 8, which will bring her down to 42. So I'm going to trade in one of her 25s, 35, 40, 1, 2. So there's Akash'Thriya taking 8 damage, bringing her down to 42. And now that's the end of the villain turn, so let's move down and we'll get started with Wraith. Alright, so here we are at Wraith's play area to start the game. And her first card that we're going to play is going to be Razor Ordnance. So this is the power that Wraith deals 1 target 3 projectile damage. Compassion is a weakness your enemies will not share. The Wraith, Freedom 5, number 540. So we'll put that into play. Now we're into her power phase. So now we're going to go hit that. We're going to use her Razor Ordnance. Where's my laser pointer? I put it in my. There you are. Okay, so we're going to use her Razor Ordnance that we just played. We're going to hit the Profane Zealot for... Okay, that's actually not a villain. So the Profane Zealot is actually going to take the full 3. So we're going to change out this 5. For 2 singles. I'm going to deal with my plan is to deal with that Profane Zealot right away. So that we don't have to keep healing him. But, anyway, Wraith then will draw a card. She will draw Smoke Bombs. By the way, I should probably mention the keyword. Equipment or ongoing cards stay in play. One-shot, spell, anything else will do its thing, and then it'll go to its respective discard pile. Limited means you can only have 1 copy of the card in play by name. But anyway, whenever a villain card would deal damage to the hero target with the lowest HP, redirect that damage to the hero target with the highest HP. Reduce damage redirected that way, but this way by 1. So that will do it for the... That will do it for Wraith's first turn. Now let's move over to Fanatic. Alright, here's Fanatic. So we're going to start off with her copy of Absolution. As we recall, when this card enters play, Fanatic regains 1 HP. As a power, select Melee, Fire, or Radiant as this card's damage type. Fanatic deals 1 target 3 damage of that type. Absolution you are called, and Absolution you shall deliver. Fanatic, Absolution number 1. So we don't have to worry about the healing part on that because Fanatic is still at full HP. Now, with the Profane Zealot in play, this is where Fanatic's power potentially becomes a problem. Because if we had chosen to use her Exorcism power on Gloomweaver, it would block all of that damage, so we wouldn't have been able to do anything with it. But since the targets down there aren't actually villain targets, it'll say on the card what type they are. So since none of those are villain targets, Exorcism doesn't impact us here. But that's not going to matter anyway, because for Fanatic's power phase, we're going to use Absolution to finish off the Profane Zealot. So we're going to kill that. We're going to defeat that with its 3 damage. So there's that going away. Now, there's also the effect that whenever a cultist is destroyed, search the villain trash for a zombie card and put it into play. Fortunately, we don't have any zombies in the villain trash right now. But that's not going to last too long, most likely. So, let's go ahead and draw Fanatic's card for turn. She draws Sacrosanct Martyr. As a power, Fanatic deals herself up to 5 radiant damage. Fanatic deals 1 target X radiant damage, where X equals the amount of radiant damage dealt to Fanatic this turn. So that will probably come in handy as we start working on Gloomweaver a little bit more. But that will do it for Fanatic. Let's move up to Akash'Thriya. Alright, here is Akash'Thriya. So we'll go ahead and we'll start off with a copy of Instantaneous Maturation. So she'll deal herself 2 psychic damage. We'll search her deck for a Primordial Seed and put it on top of the environment deck, shuffle our deck, play the top card of the environment deck, and then either play a card or shuffle the trash into the environment deck. Flavor text on here. A mighty hunter stalked this jungle, but now the jungle turns against him. The Naturalist, Mystery Comics number 168. So we'll deal herself the 2 psychic damage. There's the 2 damage coming off of Akash'Thriya. Then the seed that we're going to grab out of her deck, we're going to have to look here. I think the seed I want is... What seed do I want here? I think we'll grab Creeping Mold. Alright, so Creeping Mold is going on top of the environment deck. When this card is played from... this is a Primordial Seed. When this card is played from the top of the environment deck, it deals up to 3 targets 2 toxic damage each. When this card is destroyed, either destroy an ongoing or environment card, or discard a card. I'll go through the flavor text when we flip it over in a second. But, let me give this a quick shuffle. See if I can do the old bridge shuffle in midair. Ugly, but it'll work. Well, that was pretty good. Give it one more. Then we'll give it a quick cut. Alright, and then we get to play the top card of the environment deck, which, gee, I wonder what we're putting up there. Alright, so the Creeping Mold that we just got, when it's played from the environment deck, deals up to 3 targets 2 toxic damage each. I'll grab 3 HP. And then we'll take out 3 of those zombie servants. Alright. Then our flavor text on here. Ugh, vile plant life. All of this filth will be the first to burn. Professor Pollution, Virtuoso of the Void, number 62. Alright, so we'll put that in play with the environment cards. And then she can either play a card or shuffle the environment trash into the deck. She's going to opt to play a card. So we're going to play one of our copies of One with the Land. As you recall, whenever a Primordial Seed is destroyed, you may move it to the environment trash. Whenever a hero target would be dealt damage by an environment card, you may redirect that damage to a Primordial Seed. Bringing her to another world seems risky to me, but then I don't think we can succeed without her. Captain Cosmic, what is that? Prime Wardens number 113. Alright, so that's now in play as well. And then for her power, Akash'Thriya will move a Primordial Seed from your hand or trash into the environment trash, but we don't have either one to draw. We do still get to draw a card, though, as part of the power. So she'll draw Strangling Roots. So now we'll start having seeds to move. When this card is played from the environment deck, select up to 3 targets. Reduce damage dealt by those targets by 2 until the start of your next turn. When this card is destroyed, you may destroy 1 environment card or a target with 3 or fewer HP. So that's the draw from her power. Now for her regular turn, she draws Accelerate Nature's Growth. Play the top 3 cards in the environment deck. When you play a non-target card this way, Akash'Thriya deals herself 1 psychic damage and destroys an environment card. When you play a target this way, that target deals 1 target 3 toxic damage. So we can start definitely pinging stuff down with that, but that will do it for Akash'Thriya. Now let's move over and take our first look at Nightmist. Here we are at Nightmist's play area. Now, I did remember with Creeping Mold to deal with the zombie servants. I did that off camera while I was transitioning from Akash'Thriya to Nightmist. So we've got that all squared away now. Nightmist is going to go ahead and play her copy of Master of Magic. So whenever you play a spell card, Nightmist regains that card's spell HP. Touching sources of arcane power can both strengthen and destroy. Nightmist, the curse number 4. So that's in play now. Then for her power, we'll use the only one that we have, which is Attunement. So we'll look at the top 3 cards of her deck and put them back in any order. Alright. So now this can come in handy in helping us plan out our next turn if we get something that we need right away. So, sorry, I'm still getting over a little bit of that cold that I have had the last couple of weeks. But I think I'm most of the way over that now. So let's take a look at their first card. She has Astral Premonition. As a power, discard one card. If you do, reveal the top two cards of a deck. Put one on top of that deck and one on the bottom. That could be handy to help us keep the relics under control or anything dangerous from Nightmist. Or not Nightmist, Gloomweaver. Then we have Call Forth. Discard a card. Reveal cards from the top of your deck until the discarded card's spell relics are revealed. Put the relics into your hand. Shuffle the other revealed cards back into your deck. Actually, I'm going to leave them like that. And Planar Banishment. Reveal the top card of your deck. I think we had this earlier. I think we have this as... Yeah, we have this as another card in our hand. The only difference being that the spell number down here is 2. So that means we get to destroy up to 2, up to that spell's ongoing and/or environment cards. So once a card moves into hand, that number is actually not relevant. It's only relevant when it comes off the top of a library as part of a spell. But I think I want the Astral Premonition for next turn. So we'll put those other two back, and then Astral Premonition will end up being her draw for the turn. So that will do it for Nightmist. Now we'll move over to Fort Adamant and see what the environment's doing. Here's our first look at Fort Adamant. So for the first time we get to see what the environment deck actually is doing. So we play Dr. Demicon, 4 HP. Researcher increase damage dealt by subjects by 1. If there are any subjects in play, this card is indestructible. At the end of the environment turn, if there are no subjects in play, play the top card of the environment deck. What beautiful little babies they are. Yes. The doctor's gray hair and weathered skin were at odds with her spryness as she darted between tubes, beaming at her work. That will get an end of turn action token. There's that. 4 HP. Alright. So she's going to start going through the environment deck a little quicker than we would like, but... Alright, so at the end of the environment turn, we see there are no subjects in play, so we do play the top card of the environment deck. Okay, Blast Doors, Security. At the start of the environment turn, one player may discard their hand and draw one card. If at least one card is discarded this way, the environment deck cannot play cards this turn. If at least 3 cards are discarded this way, also destroy all other environment cards, then discard this card. The piercing klaxons were drowned out by heavy stomps as Mainstay barreled towards the door, slapping the flashing red button right before diving for the shrinking gap. Alright, so that gets a start of turn action. So there's that. Alright, so Dr. Demicon is still able to be targeted, but the environment deck is not relevant. We're out of the environment turn, so let's move back over to Gloomweaver for the next villain turn. Alright, here we are with Gloomweaver. I did check the environment, or the villain trash. There are still no villain relics in play, although we did put a bunch of zombies in the trash, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But there are also no villain relics in play, so we don't have to worry about either side of that. So we play the top card of the villain deck. We get Accursed Acolyte. Cultist, 6 HP. At the end of the villain turn, this card deals each hero target H-2 fire and H-2 infernal damage. You will burn, and you will beg for true despair. The Acolyte, Freedom 5 Annual, number 6. Alright, so that's going to get another end of turn action and 6 HP tokens. Alright, so there's all that. And end of turn. So now we'll resolve the actions, and we'll resolve them by closest to the deck. Now, just to show you how I'm going to be laying this out, in case the decks start to get totally out of control. Sorry, I have a fly buzzing around here. But anyway, in case the game starts to get out of control, we're going to start from the closest to the deck, and I'm going to wind around. I'm going to wind my way around like so, and then loop back up toward Gloomweaver. So we're essentially going to be making a curve pattern, but the Zombie Servant is going to deal a non-villain target with the highest HP 2 melee damage. So that's going to be slapping Akash'Thriya for another 2. So we'll take the 5 and swap it out for 3 singles. Put those on Akash'Thriya, bringing her down to 35-38. And then deals each hero target H-2 fire and H-2 infernal damage. So we take 4 damage, which means Wraith will trade out the 25. Get 2 10s and a 1 to represent the 23 HP she has left from that. So there's the 21 HP that's going on Wraith. And Fanatic takes 4 as well, so she'll trade this 5 in for a single. Go down to 26. Akash'Thriya will take another 4, which will bring her down to 34. So there's the 6 going on there after I took the 10 off. And then Nightmist takes 5. Actually, no. Nightmist takes 4 because this isn't the villain doing damage. This is the Cursed Acolyte. So she'll go down 28 to 24. So 20. Okay. So we've got that all straight now. Alright, so looking at the board here, that Cursed Acolyte needs to go away and soon. So let's go ahead and work on that. I will send it down to the Wraith next. Alright, here we are with Wraith. Now, I have 2 main priorities right now. I want to deal with that Cursed Acolyte sooner rather than later, and this Blast Doors has real potential to cause us problems, especially if it's going to start ripping our hands apart. So, I think what we're going to do is we're going to play Grappling Hook, which will let us destroy an ongoing or environment card. You may draw a card. Being prepared is all about having the right tool for the job. So I'm going to take those Blast Doors out now. So Blast Doors will move to the discard pile. And then Wraith will draw a card from that. She'll draw. Mega Computer. Reduce damage dealt by environment cards by 1. So we're probably not going to need that just yet. But... and then for her power phase, I think Wraith is going to use Razor Ordnance to hit the Cursed Acolyte for 3. So we'll trade in this 5 for 2 singles. Alright, so there are the 2 singles going on the Cursed Acolyte. And then Wraith will draw for her turn. Micro-targeting computer. Increase projectile damage dealt by the Wraith by 2. I'm sure we're going to be playing that before too long, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. But let's go ahead and move over next. Since that will do it for Wraith, we'll go ahead and move over to Fanatic. Here we are with Fanatic. So we're going to start off by playing the Sacrosanct Martyr. So this is another ongoing limited. As a power, Fanatic deals herself up to 5 radiant damage. Fanatic deals 1 target X radiant damage, where X equals the amount of radiant damage dealt to Fanatic this turn. What you call a sacrifice, I consider a necessity. Fanatic. Fanatic number 14. Alright, so now we have a way to hurt Fanatic and do further damage. But for her power phase, we're going to use Absolution to finish off the Cursed Acolyte. So we're going to choose Fire, I guess. But anyway, the more important thing is we kill the cursed acolyte, but we also get a zombie servant back. Because Gloomweaver has text on him that says whenever a cultist is destroyed, search the villain trash for a zombie and put it into play. So we've done that, and now Fanatic's card for turn is Zealous Offense. At the start of your turn, select up to 2 non-character targets. Those targets cannot deal damage until the start of your next turn. At the end of your turn, if you have not dealt at least 3 damage this turn, destroy this card. So fortunately, we've got the damage train rolling so far. But that will do it for Fanatic. Now let's move up to Akash'Thriya. Here we are with Akash'Thriya. So for her turn, we're actually going to go ahead and play Thrashing Brambles. Increase damage dealt by Primordial Seeds by 1. As a power, Akash'Thriya deals herself up to X targets 2 melee damage and 2 toxic damage each, where X is the number of Primordial Seeds in play plus 1. So, rat person, you have your freedom. Hide from the world and find yourself. Oh, go, rat person. You have your freedom. Hide from the world and find yourself. Akash'Thriya, Freedom 5, number 706. Alright, and then for her power, we will deal herself and up to X targets 2 melee and 2 toxic damage, where X is the number of Primordial Seeds in play plus 1. So we're going to go ahead and use that power to deal... so Akash'Thriya is going to take 4, go down to 30 HP. But because we have a Primordial Seed in play, we get to deal 2 other targets of that as well. So we're going to take out... Do we want to take out Dr. Demikon and the Zombie Servant, or do we want to take out both Zombie Servants? That is the question. I think we're going to take out Dr. Demikon and one of the Zombie Servants. So we'll get Dr. Demikon off the environment deck, or off the environment play area, and we'll take out one of the Zombie Servants. Alright, that's her power for the turn. And then Akash'Thriya will draw. Another Strangling Roots, which we saw earlier. But that will do it for Akash'Thriya. Now we'll move over to Nightmist. Alright, here we are with Nightmist. I'm going to go ahead and play the Astral Premonition. This is the one where we discard a card. If we do, reveal the top 2 cards of a deck, one on top and the other on bottom. Alright, and then I'm going to use that power, discarding her Elder Ring. And we're going to look at the top 2 cards of Gloomweaver's deck. So first up we have Ophidia the Deceiver, 8 HP familiar. At the end of the villain turn, this card deals the hero target with the highest HP X toxic damage, where X is equal to H plus the number of voodoo pins in play. Alright, and then the second card up is a Vast Following. Shuffle the villain trash and reveal the top H cards. Put any revealed cultist and relics into play. Put the other revealed cards back in the trash. Play the top card of the villain deck. So shuffle the villain trash. Put any revealed cultists and relics into play. And we currently have 2 cultists in there, so I don't think I want to deal with that right now. So as much as I don't want to, I'm going to put Vast Following on the bottom, and I'm going to put Ophidia back on top. Alright, so we'll do it like that, and then for turn Nightmist will draw. Call forth, which we set earlier. But that will do it for Nightmist. Now let's move back over to Fort Adamant for the environment turn. Alright, here we are with Fort Adamant for the environment turn. So Fort Adamant will play Codename Highbrow for 7 HP. As a subject, whenever a non-subject target is destroyed, this card regains 2 HP. Oh boy. At the end of the environment turn, this card deals the 3 targets other than itself with the lowest HP 2 psychic damage. So we could potentially use that. 3 targets with the lowest HP, 2 psychic damage. We could definitely use that to help keep the ads under control. So I might want to leave that around for a little while, but not too long, because once we get the ads under control from Gloomweaver, that thing's going to need to bite it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That will do it for the environment turn. Now let's move back over to Gloomweaver for the villain turn. Actually, at the end of the environment turn. So we are at the end of the environment turn. Deals the 3 targets other than itself with the lowest HP 2 psychic damage. So that lets us take out the other zombie servant. That will deal 2 to the creeping mold, bringing it down to 1. And then the lowest HP... Unsurprisingly, that's actually Wraith right now at 23. She was at 23, now she's at 22. Alright, so now that will do it for the environment turn. Now we'll move back over to Gloomweaver for the next villain turn. Alright, we're back at Gloomweaver's empty board, but it's not going to be empty for long because Nightmist gave us information of what's coming out. And indeed, it's Akash'Thriya the Deceiver. As we recall, at the end of the villain turn, this card deals the hero target with the highest HP X toxic damage, where X is H plus the number of voodoo pins in play. She slithers between this reality and the next. Nightmist, the Fabric of Despair, number 2. Right, so we'll get her 8 HP and an end of turn action. And she is a familiar as well, so that will be important to note that we won't trigger grabbing a zombie out. Alright, now that's the end of the villain turn, so we deal the hero target with the highest HP X toxic damage, where X is H plus the number of voodoo pins in play, so that's actually 4. Highest is still Akash'Thriya at 30, so she'll go to 26. Alright, we need to deal with Akash'Thriya very quickly. But I think we'll be able to get a help on that, because now we're going to Wraith's turn. So let's move down to Wraith's area. Alright, we'll go ahead. We're here with Wraith. We'll go ahead and boost her firepower. We'll play the micro-targeting computer, which increases projectile damage dealt by Wraith by 2. Every instrument is designed to combat crime and snare its perpetrators. The Wraith Mystery Comics number, what is that? 214. Okay. So now now every projectile damage is boosted by 2. Razor Ordnance will point it at Akash'Thriya for 5. So that'll bring her down to 3. And what will Wraith draw? Wraith draws another utility belt. You may use an additional power during your power phase. Anyway, that will do it for Wraith. Now let's move over to Fanatic. Alright, here we are with Fanatic. So we're going to go ahead and start off her turn with Sanctifying Strike. Fanatic deals 1 target, 1 melee damage. You may draw a card. Fanatic regains 1 HP. So we're actually going to use that to take out the creeping mold. And then because we have one with the land in play, whenever a seed is destroyed, we may move it to the trash. And then when this card is destroyed, Akash'Thriya either destroys an ongoing or environment card or discards a card. I think before she turns into a big problem, we're going to get rid of Codename Highbrow, because she is an environment card, so we can pick her off right here. Alright, and then Fanatic will regain 1 HP, go up to 27, and draw a card. So Fanatic will draw another copy of End of Days. Not something I want to see right now, but anyway, for her power phase, Fanatic will use Absolution, dealing radiant damage, and we'll take out Akash'Thriya. So that didn't take long, which means once again we have an empty board to work with. So that will do it for Fanatic. Let's move up to Akash'Thriya. Alright, here we are with Akash'Thriya. We're actually going to skip her play phase, but we're not going to draw 2 cards because I do want to use a power. So I'm going to use her power of Dormant Essence to move one of her copies of Strangling Roots into the environment trash. And then we'll draw a card from that. So she'll draw Vitalized Thorns, another 3 HP seed. If it was not played from the environment deck, destroy it. Whenever a non-hero target deals damage to Akash'Thriya, this card deals that target 1 melee damage. When this card is destroyed, it first deals 1 target 3 projectile damage. And then her draw for turn is another copy of Vitalized Thorns. So that was a short, uneventful turn for Akash'Thriya. Now we'll move over to Nightmist. Alright, here's Nightmist. So we're going to play Call Forth just to go digging for some relics. Discard a card, reveal cards from the top of your deck until the discarded cards spell relics are revealed. Put the relics into your hand, shuffle the other revealed cards back into your deck. I hear your summons. I come to both impart and exact. Tome of Elder Magic, the curse number 5. Alright, the card we're going to discard is Mistfield Recovery. So we get 4 relics. So discard a card, reveal cards from the top of your deck until the discarded cards spell relics. In this case we went with 4. Alright, so we get, that's not a relic, and everything's going back into the deck when we're done here. That is not a relic. Not a relic. Not a relic. Relic, Amulet of the Elder Gods. The first time Nightmist would be dealt damage each turn, you may discard 2 cards. If you do, you may redirect that damage to a target of your choice. So that's going to her hand. Not a relic. Not a relic. Not a relic. Not a relic. Relic, Tome of Elder Magic. As a power, reveal cards from the top of your deck until a spell is revealed. Put it into your hand, shuffle the other revealed cards back into your deck. Not a relic. 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 Another Amulet of the Elder Gods. Not a relic. 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 Jeez, where are the relics? Not a relic. Relic. This is an Elder Ring that we had earlier that we had to discard, but... Alright, so everything else goes back into the deck. Do another quick shuffle. Alright, I'll give that a cut. And then for power, we're going to use Astral Premonition once again. And because we pulled 2 copies of Amulet of the Elder Gods out, I'm going to discard Amulet of the Elder Gods to use her Astral Premonition once again. So we'll reveal the top 2 cards of Gloomweaver's deck. First card up is an Indigo Pin. When this card enters play, place it next to the hero card with the hero with the fewest cards in play. At the end of that hero's turn, that hero's player discards a card chosen randomly. And Strength of the Grave. Increase damage dealt by zombies by X, where X is the number of zombies in play. Reduce damage dealt to zombies by 1. I'm going to read the flavor text of this because this is the card we're putting back on top to draw for the villain turn. Let the graves of the damned be opened. My servants grow ever stronger. Gloomweaver, Nightmist number 42. Alright, so we'll put the indigo pin on bottom and Strength of the Grave on top. And the Nightmist's card for turn is Mistbound. Discard 2 cards. If you do, you may select a deck. Cards from that deck cannot be played until the start of your next turn. Ooh. Alright, but anyway, that will do it for Nightmist. Now let's move back over to Fort Adamant for the environment turn. Alright, we're back for the environment turn. Let's see what Fort Adamant's playing this turn. We get Aggressive Volunteering. At the end of the environment turn, discard the top 2 cards of the environment deck, put any subjects discarded this way into play, then deal each target 1 lightning damage. If at least 3 environment targets are dealt damage this way, destroy this card. Alright, so we'll grab an end of turn action. And then we are at the end of the environment turn, so we discard the top 2 cards of the environment deck. And we get, oh boy, we get 2 targets. Alright. So first we have codename Char. Whenever a security card enters play, this card deals each target 1 infernal damage. At the end of the environment turn, this card deals the hero target with the highest HP 2 energy damage. Then this card deals each target 1 infernal damage. He's going to need to go quick. Alright, that's the end of the environment turn. And we have Codename Radioactivist, 9 HP. Subject, whenever this card is dealt damage, increase the next damage dealt by this card by 1. At the environment turn, this card deals the non-environment target with the second highest HP 2 toxic damage. We forgot to go through the flavor text for Codename Char. I'll do that after this. As the glowing figure took a staggering step forward, the clicking Geiger counter warning sound spiked in intensity. So much raw power, the figure groaned. Get another end of turn action. Fortunately these won't go off because this already went off for the end of the environment turn. The door slid open to reveal a grinning man. Huh, don't I know you kids from somewhere? He said as his arm burst into green flame. No matter. Time to burn. Great. So 11 HP there. 9 for Radioactivist. So basically we need to deal with Radioactivist in one... Basically we need to deal with him in 1 round. Is where I'm going with that. But that will do it for Fort Adamant's turn. Now let's move back over to Gloomweaver. Here we are with the environment turn. No start of play effects go off. And gee, I wonder what we're putting into play for the environment turn, or for the villain turn. Hey, look at that. It's the card we put on top with Nightmist. So, Strength of the Grave, increase damage dealt by zombies where X is the number of zombies in play, reduce damage dealt to zombies by 1. Okay, so looking at the board, we definitely need to get our AoE going on here before we can start dealing with Gloomweaver. But that will do it for the villain turn. Now let's move back down and see what Wraith can do about getting her AoE on. Here we are with Wraith. Before I get into Wraith's turn, I did forget about Nightmist's Master of Magic when she played her Call Forth. So as we recall, Master of Magic, whenever you play a spell card, Nightmist regains that card's spell HP. In this case it was 2, so Nightmist is back up to 26. Now that we've got that straight, let's go into Wraith's turn. Now, as I mentioned, we need to get our AoE on here. So Wraith is going to help with that by going digging. So she's going to play her Trust Fund, which will let her draw 4 cards, then discard 2. Mask or no mask, the Wraith is still the Wraith. Mr. Fixer, Transmission of Honor number 1. Or number 2, actually. Alright, so we draw 4 cards and then we discard 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, first card Wraith draws is Combat Stance. The first time the Wraith is dealt by damage by a target each turn, Wraith deals that target 2 melee damage. Next up, another copy of Smoke Bombs, which makes it prime discard fodder. Number 3, Grappling Hook, which could come in very handy in the next couple turns. And number 4, Infrared Eyepiece. As a power, reveal the top 2 cards of the villain deck, put one on top and the other on bottom, and draw a card. So I definitely don't want to pitch that, because the more control I can get over the villain deck, the better. But I'm going to discard a copy of Smoke Bombs and Utility Belt, just because I already have copies of both of those in my hand. Alright. Now, for her power, Wraith is going to deal something 5... and deal each target 1 lightning damage. Okay, so we're going to poke everything for 1. I did also forget about aggressive volunteering at the end of the environment turn, because after the subjects entered play, everything's going to take 1. So 1, and then Gloomweaver is going to go down to 89. So 25, 65, 75, 85, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. So we got that straight. And then that puts Radioactivist at +1 damage. At the increase the next damage dealt by this target by 1. Okay, so all right. So now that we got all that straight, now I think we hit the Activist for 5 projectile, and then plan on having what's her name? Fanatic finish it off. And then Wraith's card for turn. Another Infrared Eyepiece, which is not limited actually, so that might come into play later. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That will do it for Wraith. Now let's move over to Fanatic. Alright, here we are with Fanatic. I'll adjust the camera just slightly. We're going to go ahead and play Divine Focus for her turn. At the start, it's ongoing limited. At the start of every turn, you may discard a card. If you do, Fanatic deals the villain target with the highest HP 2 radiant damage. At the start of your turn, Fanatic may deal herself 4 fire damage. If she takes no damage this way, destroy this card. Feel the undying wrath of the Lord. Fanatic, Stranger in a Strange World, number 8. Alright, so for her power, we're going to use Absolution as fire damage and take care of codename Radioactivist. So Radioactivist is gone. And for turn, Fanatic will draw. Ooh, Wrathful Retribution. As a one-shot, discard 3 cards. If you do, Fanatic deals 1 target X radiant damage, where X is Fanatic's maximum HP minus current HP. Oh my. That has the potential to be very powerful later in the game. But that will do it for Fanatic. Now let's move up to Akash'Thriya. Alright, here's Akash'Thriya. Once again, we're going to skip her play phase to go right into her power phase. And I'm going to move one of her copies of Vitalized Thorns to the environment trash. And draw a card from that. What we need now is a way to shuffle the environment deck. Another copy of Vitalized Thorns. Good lord. Alright, and then our actual draw for turn. Instantaneous Maturation. We played this earlier to get our first seed in play. But it's still not a way to shuffle the environment, the trash into the deck. But anyway, that will do it for Akash'Thriya. Now let's move over to Nightmist. Alright, here's Nightmist. So we're going to go ahead and play her Tome of Elder Magic. Equipment Relic. As a power, reveal cards from the top of your deck until a spell is revealed. Put it into your hand. Shuffle the other revealed cards back into your deck. You cannot open this book without losing something. The Master. The Curse number 3. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and use... I'm actually going to use her attunement power. I don't mind going blind to the villain deck for a turn. Mostly because we're going to need some serious firepower to deal with Codename Char. And maybe starting to work on Gloomweaver a little bit's not a bad thing either. But anyway, first card up. Enlightenment. Reveal the top cards of your deck. Nightmist deals herself that card's spell infernal damage. One player may draw that card's spell cards. Put the revealed card into your trash. Mist form. Nightmist immune to damage. Can't play cards or use powers. You may draw an additional card during your draw phase. At the start of your turn, you may destroy this card. And another Tome of Elder Magic. Heals herself. I think the way we're going to stack it is we're going to put Enlightenment on top, then Tome of Elder Magic and Mist form. So we'll stack it like that, and then draw Enlightenment for turn. That will do it for Nightmist. Now we'll move over to Fort Adamant for the environment turn. Alright, here's Fort Adamant. Card for the environment turn is... oh god, another copy of Aggressive Volunteering. This could be really bad, and ripping through the environment deck in a hurry. Alright, so, moving from the environment deck, we're going to make a similar loop to what we're doing with Gloomweaver. In fact, I'll find my laser pointer so I can show you that. So we're going to make a similar loop to what we're doing with Gloomweaver. Go up that way. So we're going to start with this copy of Aggressive Volunteering. Discard the top 2 cards of the environment deck. And we miss... put any subjects discarded this way. Bah. Alright, so we miss that. Then we deal each target 1 lightning damage, so Char will go down to 9. And everything takes 1. And that will bring Akash'Thriya down to 24. And then we have another copy of Aggressive Volunteering, so we're going to discard 2 more cards from the environment deck. And we miss 2 more subjects. Deal each target 1 lightning damage, so he takes another 1. And I did miss Char. I'll come back to that in a second. I was supposed to do that in order, but I spaced. That brings Wraith to 19. Gloomweaver to 87. Alright, and then Char deals the hero target with the highest HP 2 energy damage. That's Fanatic. So that brings her down to 23. Then everything takes 1 infernal. So I'll just grab a 22 for Fanatic. Then everything takes 1 infernal. Alright, so... yeah, Char is turning into a big problem, and Aggressive Volunteering is actually a bigger problem. So we need to try to get both of those out of the way. But that will do it for the environment turn. Now let's move back over to Gloomweaver for the villain turn. Villain turn time for Gloomweaver. So let's see what we've got. Chosen Disciple. Oh boy. 7 HP. At the end of the villain turn, move 1 zombie card from the villain trash into play. Then, this card deals the hero target with the highest HP X melee damage where X is the number of zombies in play plus 2. Oh, great. Have you met my friends? They want to meet you. The Chosen, Nightmist number 20. So that's an end of villain turn. Oh boy, we are really starting to get up against it here, folks. Alright, so 7 HP. Then at the end of the villain turn, move a zombie card from the villain trash into play. Fortunately, the zombie servant won't attack, but we are going to have a big problem trying to get rid of it. Alright, then this card deals the hero target with the highest HP X melee damage, where X is zombies plus 2. Let's see, 22, 22, 22. Anybody except Wraith could take that 3 damage. And I think I will have Fanatic take it. So that brings Fanatic down to 19. Oh boy. Great. Alright, that will do it for the for the villain turn. Now let's move back over to Wraith and see how in the world we're getting out of this. Alright, we're back with Wraith. That whiff on Trust Fund is really already starting to bite us. Now, I haven't been paying attention to Divine Focus, but it really isn't doing much when we've got so many other high priority targets that we need to get rid of. But, anyway. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use a grappling hook. We got to get rid of one of these aggressive volunteerings. We can't keep putting targets into play. So we'll get rid of one of these, and then Wraith will draw a card. Wraith will draw Impromptu Invention, draw a card, search your deck for an equipment card and either put it into play or your hand, shuffle your deck. You may play a card. Wraith, this is such a sight for sore eyes right now. Unfortunately, we don't have a play this turn, but... Alright, so the power is going to be Razor Ordnance. The only question is, where am I aiming it? I think we're going to aim it at the Chosen Disciple, because I don't want to have... Okay, here's the question. Do I aim it at the Chosen Disciple, which is going to keep pulling zombies out, or Codename Char? That is a tough one. Because I either aim it at the one that's going to pull zombies out, or at the one that's going to keep pinging everything. Actually, I think we point it at... Okay, what is Wraith doing next turn? She's definitely going digging for something. The question is what? I think this is where we finally start to get her AoE on. So, I think for now... Basically, what are we... I think whatever we do, we need to kill something this turn. We need to be able to defeat something this round. I think we point the Razor Ordnance at the Chosen Disciple. That's going to keep ripping zombies out. I feel like either way, I really probably can't go wrong. But I think just continuing to pull zombies out of the deck is going to be a bigger problem that I don't want to... out of the discard pile is going to be something I don't want to deal with. Alright, Wraith will draw for turn. Another Impromptu Invention. So over the next couple turns, if we survive, I think we can turn the corner. But that will do it for Wraith. Now let's move back down to Fanatic. Alright, we're here with Fanatic. At the start of every turn, we may discard a card again. We haven't been using that. We probably should have been to be pinging down Gloomweaver, but I haven't worried about it. We are going to deal 4 fire damage to keep that in play. I'm working our HP down for a reason. Alright, we are going to play... We're going to play Zealous Offense. At the start of your turn, select up to 2 non-character card targets. Those targets cannot deal damage until the start of your next turn. At the end of your turn, if you have not dealt at least 3 damage this turn, destroy this card. Repent! Fanatic number 27. So we don't get that this turn, but we will get it starting next turn. But anyway, or next round. Anyway, so we're going to use Absolution as our power, and we're going to finish off the Chosen Disciple, which will pull another zombie out one more time, but it won't keep pulling them out every turn, which is what I wanted to avoid. So we'll grab another Zombie Servant. Unfortunately, we do now have damage dealt... Oh, I probably should have gone after that Strength of the Grave. But I don't think there were really any good answers on that. But anyway. Alright, so... And then Fanatic's card for the turn is... another copy of Absolution, which we already have one in play, so... yeah. Alright, so that'll do it for Fanatic. Now let's move up to Akash'Thriya. Alright, here we are with Akash'Thriya. So we're actually going to play Accelerate Nature's Order. Play the top 3 cards of the environment deck. When you play a non-target card this way, Akash'Thriya deals herself 1 psychic damage and destroys an environment card. When you play a target this way, that target deals 1 target 3 toxic damage. The sea seems even more disturbed than usual. This is your doing, I take it? La Commodora, Scion Strike number 6. Alright, so we get the top 3 cards of the environment deck. A non-target deals 1 psychic damage and destroys an environment. A target deals something 3 toxic. Alright, so the first card we play is... the Amp Cannon, 8 HP. Each hero has access to this power. Power, discard a card. If you do, this card deals itself 2 energy damage and 1 target 5 energy damage. The controls are just a bit fiddly, Wraith said with a shrug. I had to employ rather unorthodox hacks to bypass the safeguards that prevent it from firing on the base. Alright, so that's a target, which means we get to deal something 3 toxic damage. And I think we're going to point at one of the zombie servants, which reduces damage dealt by 1, or dealt 2 by 1, but 3 minus 1 is still 2, which is enough to kill a zombie servant. Alright, card 2. Oh boy. Bionic Patroller, which is another target. Security. At the end of the environment turn, this card deals the non-environment target with the second highest HP X energy damage, where X is the number of security cards in play plus 1, and of course, it is a security card itself. As is the Amp Cannon, so this is going to be taking 3 damage. Halt. You have entered a restricted area. You will be punished to the fullest extent of the law. The impassive voice droned on as the robot scanned the area for intruders. Alright, so that's a 10 HP, but we played another target, so we get to deal another target 3 toxic. I think we're going to aim at the... I think we're going to point at the other zombie servant. We'll just go ahead and take that out, just so we don't start getting damage flying around like crazy. And then we have one more card off the top of the environment deck. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Another target? Well, we get to deal something else 3 toxic. It's another Bionic Patroller. So, deal a target 3 toxic. I think we'll deal that to Char, which will bring Char down to 4 HP. Let's see. And then for her power phase, I'm going to go ahead and discard a copy of One with the Land to use the Amp Cannon. So we'll deal that 2 energy damage, and then we'll deal Bionic Patroller 5. We'll deal one of these 5. So those things also need to bite it. Fortunately, I think Wraith is going to be getting her AoE on pretty quick. Then we'll draw for turn. We have Healing Pollen. When this card is played from the environment deck, one hero target regains 4 HP. When this card is destroyed, draw a card and each hero target regains 1 HP. Alright, so that will do it for Akash'Thriya. Now we'll move over to Nightmist. Alright, so we're back over here with Nightmist. We're going to go ahead and play Planar Banishment. It's a one-shot spell. Reveal the top card of your deck. Nightmist deals herself that card's spell infernal damage. You may destroy up to that card's spell ongoing and or environment cards. Put the revealed card into your trash. I cast thee through the gates of Relay. Nightmist, Freedom 5, number 559. So we regain 1 HP. I hope and don't hope this is a big number, but let's find out. We get... oh my, okay, a 4. So Nightmist goes down to 19, but the trade-off is... so we reveal another Tome of Elder Magic for 4 HP. So we get to destroy 4 ongoing and or environment cards. Okay, so what does that mean? So that means aggressive volunteer... okay, first thing we need to do is we need to destroy Strength of the Grave. Well, do we need to destroy Strength of the Grave? I definitely need aggressive volunteering gone. That thing has been ripping through the environment deck. I think we'll take out both of these Bionic Patrollers. So that's 3. And then Codename Char or Strength of the Grave. That is a decision. That is a tough one. Actually, we can deal with Codename Char, I think, pretty easily. Excuse me. Sorry, still getting over remnants of this cold. I think we're going to take out Strength of the Grave, figuring that we'll be able to destroy Codename Char when we need to. But anyway, as Nightmist's power, we will go ahead and use her attunement to start set up her next turn. First card we reveal, another Mist form with a 3 on it. There's a 3 spell. And we have Scouring Mist. Reveal the top card of your deck. Nightmist deals herself that card's spell infernal damage, and then deals up to that card's spell targets 2 infernal damage each. Put the revealed card into your trash. And another Astral Premonition. So how do I want to stack these? Deals up to that card's spell targets 2 infernal damage each. I think we will stack it like that, and then we'll get the Scouring Mists for turn. That will do it for Nightmist. That'll do it for our heroes. Let's move back over to Fort Adamant for the next environment turn. And I'm going to have to change my battery. Alright, we're back for the environment turn. This is the last card in Fort Adamant's deck, and we have another copy of Blast Doors. We saw this earlier. Just to refresh our memory, at the start of the environment turn, one player may discard their hand and draw a card. If at least one card is discarded this way, the environment deck can't play cards this turn. If at least 3 cards are discarded this way, also destroy all other environment cards, then destroy this card. So that's a start of turn action. We'll put a start token there. End of the environment turn, deals the hero target with highest HP 2 energy, which is Akash'Thriya. Then deals everything 1 infernal. So that will bring Fanatic down to 14. Akash'Thriya to 19. One, 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 one. And Gloomweaver down to 85 HP. We have not really had a chance to do much damage to Gloomweaver yet. But that will do it for the environment turn. We'll shuffle the deck when we have to draw again. But let's move over to Gloomweaver. Alright, here's Gloomweaver. Let's get his card for the turn. We get our first pin. When this card enters play, place it next to the hero with the most cards in play, which is Fanatic. At the end of that hero's turn, that hero's player destroys one of their cards, or Gloomweaver deals that hero H psychic damage, blinded by the vanity of power. Gloomweaver, Nightmist number 19. So that's got 9 HP. I will put that here. Get 9 HP. Alright, so 9. Alright, that was actually a pretty okay-ish turn in the grand scheme of things, but now I think we can finally start working on Gloomweaver a little bit. Let's see how Wraith is going to do that. Alright, Wraith, it's time for us to start taking control of this game. So we're going to play our first copy of Impromptu Invention. As we recall, draw a card. Search your deck for an equipment card and either put it into play or your hand. Shuffle your deck. You may play a card. Wait, when did I make this thing? The Wraith, Science and Progress one-shot. Alright, so looking at my hand, the only way I don't go get throwing knives is if I draw it right here. So let's see what Wraith draws. Stunbolt. Power, Wraith deals to target 1 projectile damage. Until the start of your next turn, reduce all damage dealt by that target by 1. Alright, so I think I am going to get the throwing knives, which, hey, look at that. They're right on the bottom. It's right on the bottom of my deck. Throwing knives. As a power, Wraith deals up to 3 targets 1 projectile damage each, which is actually 3 because of the micro-targeting computer. The wrong person in the right place can make all the difference. The Wraith, Sunrise number 4. And I'm putting that right into play. And then I still have a play as well from Impromptu Invention, so I'm going to play Utility Belt. You may use an additional power during each power phase. Bunker. A live fight. The Wraith. The true crime fighter always carries everything she needs in her utility belt, Tyler. Freedom 5, number 414. Alright. Now, we have 2 powers we can use. I think for one of them we're going to use throwing knives, so we're going to take out Codename Char, because he's become a problem and we've let him linger long enough. Work on the Sable Pin that's attached to Fanatic, and then we'll hit Gloomweaver for 3. So that'll bring Gloomweaver from, what is that, 85 to 82. So what do I need? 25, 80, 1, 2. Alright, so we'll take the 10. Gloomweaver's at 82. And then for Razor Ordnance power, we're going to use... Actually, I could use Wraith Sleuth, revealing the top card of the environment deck to discard or play it. I could use that to shuffle the environment deck, but I think I'm going to go ahead and hit... I don't really mind the Sable Pin in play right now, because I do have something I can destroy. So I will actually go ahead and hit Nightmist, or not Nightmist, definitely not Nightmist. I will hit Gloomweaver for 5 with Razor Ordnance. That'll bring Gloomweaver down to 77. Then Wraith will draw a card. She will draw Mega Computer. Reduce damage dealt by environment cards by 1. So that was something we could have used earlier, but now that we've largely settled kind of settled things down a little bit, I think we're good to go there. But that will do it for Wraith. Now let's move over to Fanatic. Alright, so at the end of her turn we did deal at least 3 damage. But, alright, so first we have the Sable Pin that we're going to worry about. We'll use that to destroy Divine Focus, because we really haven't been using that. Then looking at Zealous Offense, at the start of your turn, select up to 2 non-character card targets. Those targets can't deal damage until the start of your next turn. That's up to... And Gloomweaver, I think, counts as a character, so that's actually pretty much useless. But anyway... let's see here. So, I don't have anything I want to play right now. I guess I could play another copy of Absolution to let her regain an HP. Then we'll actually move that down this way. So that'll bring Fanatic up to 15 HP. Then I will deal... I'll use Absolution. Actually, yeah, we'll use Absolution. We'll hit the Sable Pin for 3 Radiant. So I'll bring that down to 3. Then we'll draw a card for turn, and we get... Smite the Transgressor. Fanatic is a one-shot. Fanatic deals 1 target 2 melee damage. You may use an additional power this turn. Alright, that could be handy to have. But that will do it for Fanatic. Let's move up to Akash'Thriya. Alright, here's Akash'Thriya. So we're going to go ahead and play another copy of Instantaneous Maturation. Deal yourself 2 psychic damage. Search your deck for a Primordial Seed on top of the deck. And then play the top card of the deck. Then play the top card of the environment deck. Then either play a card or shuffle the environment trash into the deck. We're going to grab... I think we're going to go ahead and grab... grab Creeping Mold. Yeah, I shuffle these cards so much that they're starting to... There we go. I was going to say that they're starting to bend on me, but that... In theory, that wouldn't affect the shuffle, but that's all handled. So now we'll grab Creeping Mold for the top of the environment deck. And then we'll go ahead and play it. When this card is played from the environment deck, deals up to 3 targets... Well, let me bring it here. When this card is played from the environment deck, it deals up to 3 targets 2 toxic damage each. When this card is destroyed, either destroy an ongoing or environment card, or discard a card. So, up to 3 targets 2 toxic damage each. We'll hit the Sable Pin for 2, Gloomweaver for 2, bringing him down to 75. And I think that's where we'll leave it alone. Alright, so... In that case, we will use the power, and then we can either play a card or shuffle the environment trash into the deck, which I will shuffle the environment trash back into the deck. Shoot. I definitely don't want those toward the bottom. We'll give it a cut. And you did see me do a cut, so I do have a seed on top. And let's shuffle the trash in. Then for our power, we'll use Dormant Essence to move a Healing Pollen over to the environment trash. Then I'll draw a card from that. We draw Earth's Attunement, ongoing. At the end of your turn, Akash'Thriya may deal herself 2 psychic damage. If she takes damage this way, shuffle the environment trash into the deck. As a power, play the top card of the environment deck. You may destroy an environment card. Oh my. That may be hitting the table pretty soon. Then her card for turn. Primeval Germination. For the first time an environment card enters play each turn, either play or discard the top card of the environment deck. At the end of your turn, you may shuffle a Primordial Seed from the environment trash into the deck. Alright, so that will do it for Akash'Thriya. Now let's go pay Nightmist a visit. Alright, Nightmist, we're starting to mount a little bit of a comeback here. Let's see what you can do to keep it going with Scouring Mist. So this will reveal the top card of your deck. Nightmist will deal herself that card's spell infernal damage, and then deal up to that card's spell damage to infernal damage each, and the revealed card goes into the trash. So first, Nightmist will heal 2 HP from Master of Magic. Then we reveal the top card of her deck. And we get Mist Form, so we're going to deal herself 3. Then we deal up to that card's targets 2 infernal up to 3 targets 2 infernal damage each. So we're going to ping the Creeping Mold and Gloomweaver to bring him down to 73. And then both cards will go in the trash. So what do we need? So 50, 60, 70. I don't know why I put those 2 singles in, because they're going right back on Gloomweaver. So 73 to Gloomweaver. Alright, and then for her power this turn, we're going to go ahead and discard Enlightenment so we can use Premonition. So we can use Astral Premonition. Reveal the top 2 cards of a deck. We'll look at Gloomweaver's deck. And then we put 1 card on top and the other on bottom. So we get, first up, Vast Following. This is probably going on the... Well, we got a lot of stuff in the trash now, so that gets Cultists and Relics out. How many Cultists do we have? 1, 2, 3. Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have a... So that could potentially be a dangerous card. Let's see what we get here, though. Wow. Alright, so 1 on top, the other on bottom. Not something I wanted to see, but nothing I can do there. And then we draw for turn. Nightmist will draw. Another Astral Premonition. That's mildly annoying, but nothing I can do about it now. Anyway, that will do it for the heroes. Let's move over for the environment turn. Here we are at the environment turn. Before we start, Nightmist actually deals Gloomweaver an extra damage because they're nemesis. I haven't done much with that, so yeah, so that's all handled. Start of the environment turn, we have the blast doors in play. One player may discard their hand and draw a card. If at least 1 card is discarded this way, the environment deck can't play cards this turn. If at least 3 cards are discarded this way, also destroy all their environment cards, then destroy this card. I don't think anybody's going to be discarding because I mostly like our hands right now. Plus, I want to see what the seed is anyway. So we get so this is a seed coming from the environment deck. We get Strangling Roots. When this card is played from the environment deck, select up to 3 targets. Reduce damage dealt by each of those targets by 2 until the start of your turn. When this card is destroyed, you may destroy an environment card or a target with 3 or fewer HP. Alright, so we'll get that 3 HP tokens. And then we will reduce Gloomweaver's damage dealt by 2 until the start of Akash'Thriya's next turn. So Gloomweaver is -2 damage until Akash'Thriya's next turn. Alright, that will do it for Fort Adamant's turn. Let's go ahead and move back over to Gloomweaver. Alright, we're back over here for Gloomweaver's turn, and hey, look at that. I wonder what we put on top. Fast Following. So we shuffle the villain trash. This won't be part of it yet. So we shuffle the villain trash and reveal the top H cards. Put any revealed cultists and relics into play. Put the other revealed cards back in the trash, and then play the top card of the villain deck. That could be a problem. Alright, now, cultists and relics we get back. Alright, so card 1... that's a cultist. Reduce damage dealt to villain targets by 1. Whenever a target other than this card is destroyed, the card regains 4 HP. Number 2, we get a zombie, so that will stay in the trash. 3, Strength of the Grave. Thank God this is going to stay in the trash. And 4, another zombie servant. Okay, that could have been worse. Everything else stays in the trash. And then we play the top card of the villain deck. Oh, and the flavor text. Your children hear your call, dread Gloomweaver. Cult leader Massey. The Fabric of Despair number 4. Top card of the villain deck. Crimson Pin. It's another voodoo pin. When this card enters play, place it next to the hero character with the highest HP. At the end of that hero's turn, Gloomweaver deals them H-2 irreducible toxic damage. Irreducible, hence the name, means you can't reduce it. There are effects, as you've seen, that reduce damage. He can reach across the realms to choke the living. Nightmist, Freedom 5, Annual number 6. So highest HP right now, 17, 17, 17, 15. It's anybody who's not Fanatic, which is probably the one character I wouldn't mind having this next to. I'm going to put this next to Wraith, actually, because I have somewhat of a plan. Alright, so I'm going to put that next to Wraith. Then the turn is over. That's end of turn. Alright, so that will do it for... So I'll get an end of turn token for the Crimson Pin. That will do it for Gloomweaver. Now let's move over to Wraith. Alright, here we are with Wraith. So, where are you? Oh, here we are. Another copy of Impromptu Invention coming down. We saw what this did last turn, so Wraith will draw from that. Another Trust Fund. Draw 4 cards, then discard 2. We saw this earlier. Now, what equipment am I going for? That is a good question. I think we're going to go for a Stunbolt, actually. Yeah, I think we're going to grab a Stunbolt. I'll give this a quick shuffle. All right. Alright, we'll take a quick look at the Stunbolt before it goes into play. Equipment, and it's not limited. As a power, Wraith deals 1 target, 1 projectile damage. Until the start of your next turn, reduce all damage dealt by that target by 1. Except for irreducible. Battle is all about control. Controlling yourself and your opponent. The Wraith. Freedom 5, number 399. So we'll put that into play. And then in that spirit... we're actually going to play the infrared eyepiece as well, because we still have a play from Impromptu Invention. As a power, reveal the top 2 cards of the villain deck, put one of them on the top and the other on bottom, draw a card. Judging from the trajectory of the angle, and figuring the wind at 6 knots per hour, north by northeast as per this morning's weather report, the Wraith, Freedom 5, number 159. Alright, so we'll put that into play as well. And now we have 2 powers. So I think we'll start off with Razor Ordnance, and we'll hit the Profane Cultist for 5, which just takes him flat out, but it does bring a Zombie Servant back. Of course, that Zombie Servant isn't probably going to be around for very long. In fact, I'm not even going to get the tokens out because we're going to use Throwing Knives as their second power, which lets me deal up to 3 targets 1 projectile damage each. So I'm going to hit the Crimson Pin for 3. We'll hit the what do we want to hit? So I definitely want to hit 2 more targets. I'm deciding if I want to aim at I'm deciding what I want to aim at exactly. We'll hit the Strangling Roots for 3. Then when this is destroyed, you can either destroy an environment card or a target with 3 or fewer HP. Which I think I will use that to take out the Zombie Servant. And then when a card is destroyed, remember from Akash'Thriya, we can move it to the environment trash. And then we still have one more ping for 3 damage. I think we'll nail the Creeping Mold and take out the Sable Pin with it. Actually, no. I'm not going to take out the Sable Pin. I'm going to take out the Blast Doors instead. So we'll go ahead and get rid of that. And then that will do it for Wraith's turn. She will draw another Utility Belt, which we have 1 in play already, so we don't get another power from that. But anyway, that will do it for Wraith. Let's move over to Fanatic. Okay, we're over here with Fanatic. Sable Pin goes first, and we will have to destroy Zealous Offense because we can't choose Gloomweaver as a target. I thought that would be useful, but it's not. Then we're going to go ahead, for the start of the turn, we'll play Smite the Transgressor to deal 1 target 2 melee damage, and I may use an additional power this turn. So I'm going to go ahead and take out the Sable Pin, and then I have 2 powers this turn. The first of which will be using Absolution to hit Gloomweaver for 3 radiant damage, which will bring Gloomweaver down to 25, 50, 60, 72. So Gloomweaver will be at 69 HP. So 25, 50, 60, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right. And then Fanatic will use Sacrosanct Martyr for her second power, dealing herself 5 radiant damage. Dealt 2 Fanatic, so she will hit Wraith, or not Wraith. I'm not hitting Wraith with that. I will hit Gloomweaver for another 5. And then Fanatic will draw a card. Card for turn is Brutal Censure. Fanatic deals 1 target 2 radiant damage. You may draw a card. Alright, that will do it for Fanatic. Let's move up to Akash'Thriya. Here we are with Akash'Thriya. Before I move into her turn, I forgot about the Crimson Pin at the end of Wraith's turn. So she takes 2 irreducible toxic damage. So there's the 2 damage coming off of Wraith. Now looking at Akash'Thriya, looking at her hand, we're going to play... we're going to go ahead and play Primeval Germination. The first time an environment card enters play each turn, either play or discard the top card of the environment deck. At the end of your turn, you may shuffle a primordial seed from the environment trash into the deck. Never thought I'd be glad to see you. That said, let's make a mess of things. Mainstay, Freedom 5, number 796. Okay. I think for now, though, we will shuffle... We will move... As a power, we'll use her Dormant Essence to move Strangling Roots. Yes, we'll move Strangling Roots into the environment trash. And we'll draw a card from Dormant Essence. Rapid Growth. Shuffle the environment trash into the deck. Discard up to 6 cards from the environment deck, from the top of the environment deck. Akash'Thriya deals herself and 1 target X toxic damage, where X is the number of cards discarded this way. That's her draw from Dormant Essence. For her turn, she draws Noxious Pod, another Primordial Seed. When this card is played from the environment deck, you may discard any number of cards. Draw as many cards as you discard this way, plus 1. When this card is destroyed, it deals up to 3 targets 1 toxic damage each, which will actually be 2 because of the seeds. But that will do it for Akash'Thriya's turn. Let's move over to Nightmist. Alright, here's Nightmist. So we're going to go ahead and play one of her relics, another relic. Amulet of the Elder Gods. The first time Nightmist would be dealt damage each turn, you may discard 2 cards. If you do, you may redirect that damage to a target of your choice. This accursed amulet shall serve in my quest for redemption. Nightmist, the curse number 1. And then for her power phase, we're going to discard another copy of Astral Premonition to look at Gloomweaver's deck. Right, another 2 cards. First up, we have Pouch of Bones, which is our first relic. Reduce damage dealt to zombies by 1. Whenever a zombie enters play, each villain target regains HP, so 4 HP. Yuck. And we have another Zombie Servant. I think we can deal with the Zombie Servant a lot more easily than I want to see a relic right now. So we'll put the Zombie Servant on top. And then for turn, Nightmist will draw Mists of Time. As a one-shot spell, Nightmist deals herself 2 infernal damage. Switch your trash and hero deck. Shuffle your deck. Alright, that will do it for Nightmist and our heroes. Let's move over to the environment deck. Alright, we're back for the environment turn. Let's see what we've got on the environment deck. Oh god, this thing again? Aggressive volunteering. So we discard the top 2 cards of the environment deck at the end of the turn. Put any subjects discarded this way into play. Deal each target 1 lightning damage. If at least 3 environment targets are dealt damage this way, destroy this card. Alright, so that's end of turn, and now we put 2 cards from the environment deck in play. And we have any subjects discarded this way, so we codename Char's back. When a security card enters play, this card deals each target 1 infernal damage. At the end of the environment turn, this card deals the hero target with the highest HP 2 energy, then everything 1 infernal. So we'll get the 11 HP. That won't go off this round. This turn, because we've already had started into end of turn effects. So now we'll move over to... Oh, and then it does deal everything 1 lightning damage. So that goes down to 4. Char goes down to 10. 1 Wraith to 14. And Gloomweaver goes to, what was that, 50, 63. Alright, so our friend Char's back again. We're going to need to deal with him sooner rather than later. But anyway, that will do it for the environment turn. Let's move back over for the villain turn. We're back with the villain turn. We left the zombie servant on the top for the start of the villain turn. 2 HP, end of turn. Deals non-villain target with the highest HP, H-2 melee. So that would be either Nightmist or Akash'Thriya, actually. I will have Akash'Thriya take it. So that'll bring her down to 14. Anyway, that will do it. Let's move over to Wraith. Okay, here's Wraith. So we're going to go ahead here and play Combat Stance. The first time the Wraith is dealt damage by a target each turn, the Wraith deals that target 2 melee damage. Heh, you'll regret that. The Wraith, Mystery Comics number 190. Alright, so we have 2 powers to use. We're going to use Throwing Knives first, so we're going to deal 3 to our buddy Char. 5, 6, 7. So Char's going to be at 7. We'll hit the Crimson Pin for 3. And then we'll take out the Zombie Servant. And then second power, we're going to hit Gloomweaver for another 5 to bring him down to 63. I wasn't sure whether if there should have been extra 5 damage, so I just put it back on him. Alright, and then from the Crimson Pin, Wraith takes another 2 irreducible toxic damage. We should be able to deal with that in pretty short order. But that will do it for Wraith. Now let's move over to Fanatic. Alright, here we are with Fanatic. We'll start off with the Brutal Censure. We'll hit Codename Char for 2, and you may draw a card. Know the error of thine ways. Fanatic. Fanatic number 2. So that's another 2 damage off Char. Then we'll draw a card. From that we draw another Absolution, which is probably going to be discard fodder to the Imp Cannon. Actually, no. That's not going to be discard fodder, because I think we should be able to get rid of aggressive volunteering this turn. So instead, I'm going to use... I'm going to use Absolution to continue working on Gloomweaver for 3 Radiant. So we'll take Gloomweaver down to 60 HP. Then we'll draw a card. We draw... Oh my, Prayer of Desperation. 1 shot, draw until you have 6 cards in your hand, immediately end your turn. So that means you don't get the draw card or use a power phase. But that will do it for Fanatic. Let's move up to Akash'Thriya. Alright, here we are with Akash'Thriya. For her turn, we're going to play Rapid Growth. Shuffle the environment trash into the environment deck. Discard up to 6 cards from the top of the environment deck. Akash'Thriya deals herself and one target X toxic, where X is the number of cards discarded this way. I am actually quite pleased to see this. There's so much more we can do with those parts. Luminary Mystery Comics number 515. Alright, so we grab the trash into the deck. Give it a few shuffles. Alright. Give it a cut. Alright, so discard up to 6 cards from the top of the environment deck. So we're going to discard 1. That's something I don't mind discarding. 2. Something else I don't mind discarding. 3. Okay? So we discarded 3 cards, which means we have to deal Akash'Thriya 3 toxic, but we also get to deal a target 3 toxic. Which I'm going to hit Codename Char with... I'm either going to hit Char or Gloomweaver. I think we're going to blast Char, because I want to have a better chance of taking him out. And then for her power, we'll move a copy of Vitalized Thorns into the trash and draw from that. We draw Cultivation. At the end of your turn, discard or play the top card of the environment deck. Power. Shuffle either one card or all cards from the environment trash into the environment deck. Discard or play the top card of the environment deck. That could come in very handy for us. But that will do it for Akash'Thriya. Now let's move over. Char should be at 2 HP. Let's move over to Nightmist. Here's Nightmist. I'll go ahead and play her Elder Ring. Increase damage dealt by Nightmist by 1. As a power, draw a card, destroy this card. No one is master of the ring. It chooses whom it will serve. The master. The curse number 3. And then as a power, we'll use her attunement once again. 3. Alright, so first up, we have Oblivion. Reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. Nightmist deals each target one of the revealed cards spell infernal damage, then deals each non-hero target the other revealed cards spell infernal damage. Put the revealed cards into your trash. Enlightenment, which is a 3. We saw this earlier. You deal herself that card's spell infernal damage. May draw that card's spell cards. Put the revealed card into your trash. And Heedless Lash. Reveal the top card of your deck. Nightmist deals herself and one other target that card's spell infernal damage. Put the revealed card into your hand or into play. You know what? I think we're gonna take. I think we're gonna stack it like that, and I'm gonna keep Oblivion as my draw for turn. Anyway, that will do it for the heroes. Let's move over to the environment. Alright, here we are with the environment deck. We don't have any start of environment turn cards, so we do get a seed. Strangling Roots. When this card is played from the environment deck, select up to 3 targets. Reduce damage dealt by each of those targets by 2 until the start of your next turn. When this card is destroyed, you may destroy an environment card or a target with 3 or fewer HP. Those funny little orange men are stuck. This will be like spearing fish in a barrel. Arakti Waraha. Scion Strike number 1. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Alright, so we can reduce damage dealt by those targets by 2. I think we'll name Char and Gloomweaver on that. Alright, and then at the end of the environment turn, which is here, discard the top 2 cards of the environment deck. Put any subjects discarded this way, we're discarding 2 seeds, which is rather unfortunate, but could be worse. Then deal each target 1 lightning damage. Deal each target 1 lightning damage. So 1, 2, so there's that. And each target 1 lightning, which brings Gloomweaver down to 59. 5, 7, 8, and 9. And Gloomweaver is -2 damage until -2 damage dealt until Akash'Thriya's next turn. So we'll get the 2 minus icons for that. If at least 3 environment targets are discarded or dealt damage this way, which I think the Strangling Roots counts as an environment target right now because it came from the environment deck, so that gets destroyed. Thank God. Although it did cost us 2 seeds, which is moderately annoying. Right, and then codenamed Char because we reduced his damage by 2 as well. Oop, wrong token. Here we go. So he doesn't do anything until, yeah, so he reduces damage dealt by those targets by 2, so he does nothing. Alright, that will do it for the environment turn. Now let's move over to Gloomweaver. Once again, I am very forgetful. Before we get into Gloomweaver's turn, I did remember to take the Wraith's 2 damage from the Crimson Pin. What I didn't remember to do is do that 2 damage to Gloomweaver from combat stance. So now Gloomweaver is at 55-7. Card from the villain deck. Chosen Disciple, 7 HP. We saw this earlier, so this will just grab a zombie out, then deal 3 damage to... Alright, so we'll get 2 end of turn actions. Total of 9 HP, 7 for the Chosen Disciple, 5 for the zombies, or 2 for the zombie servant. So 5, 6, 7, and 2, and it deals highest HP 3. So right now, highest HP is Nightmist, who goes down to 12. Actually, that should be... Oh no, we didn't play a spell yet. Did we? No. No, we played the Elder Ring. That's right. Okay, so Nightmist took her 3. Now I definitely want to start... Now we're definitely starting to get to a point where we're getting into crunch time here. So let's see if we can't start to close this game out a little bit. Wraith, let's see what we can do here. So let's move down to you. Alright, Wraith, let's go ahead and play another Stun Bolt to start with. Fortunately, these aren't limited. So I'll put that into play. And then we have 2 powers, one of which will be Throwing Knives. We'll go ahead and finish off... We'll go ahead and hit the Crimson... Let's actually start off with the Strangling Roots for 3, which will let us destroy a target. I will take out Char with that. Just to make sure he stops being a problem. And then we have 2 more actual hits with that, which will hit the Crimson Pin to take that out, so we stop taking damage. And then the Chosen... I should have done this in the other order, but oh well. Then, yeah, we'll hit the... No, actually, I think we're going to hit Gloomweaver for 3. So that'll bring him down... 25, 57. That'll bring him down to 54 for now. I only have 3 singles right here. Put those on. Okay, so 25, 50, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Now that I can actually count. And then for her second power, Wraith is going to use Razor Ordnance to hit the Chosen Disciple for 5. We'll just work on that. And then we'll draw for turn. We draw Mega Computer. Reduce damage dealt by environment cards by 1. So that will do it there. Let's move over now to Fanatic. Okay, Fanatic. It's time to pay off working your HP down so low. So we're at 9 HP right now. We're going to play Wrathful Retribution, one shot, discard 3 cards. If you do, Fanatic deals 1 target X radiant damage, where X is Fanatic's maximum HP minus current HP. You have been judged and found sorely wanting. Perish! From Fanatic Absolution number 19. So we're going to discard 3 cards. 2 copies of End of Days and an extra copy of Absolution. Which means we get to deal something 22 damage. Which I think we're going to rock Gloomweaver with that for 22. So 54 minus 22 brings him down to 32 HP. Right, 54 minus 20... minus 22, yeah, 32. Alright, so 25, 30... 1, 2. Alright, then I have a bit of a plan after that. So next we're going to hit... we use Absolution to finish off the Chosen Disciple for 3 Radiant, which does pull a Zombie Servant, but I happen to have it on fairly good knowledge that the Zombie Servant probably isn't going to be around too long. Then we'll draw for turn. We will draw another Sanctifying Strike, which we used earlier. But that will do it for Fanatic. Let's move over to Akash'Thriya. Alright, here we are with Akash'Thriya. We'll go ahead and play Cultivation. At the end of your turn, discard or play the top card of the environment deck. Power, shuffle either 1 card or all cards from the environment trash into the environment deck. Discard or play the top card of the environment deck. Come alive, that which could be. Now is the time of fruition. Akash'Thriya, Virtuoso of the Void, number 65. So now we get to add that to her board. And then as her power, we'll go ahead and we'll actually use Cultivation to shuffle either 1 card or all cards from the trash into the deck. We'll shuffle everything back in. Actually, yeah, we'll shuffle the trash back in. Give it a quick crappy shuffle. And a cut. And we'll discard the top card of the environment deck. We'll discard... ooh, codename Radioactivist. We saw him earlier. He caused us a lot of problems. Then draw for turn is... Rapid Growth. We used this earlier as well. But that will do it for Akash'Thriya. Now let's move over to Nightmist. Alright, here's Nightmist. So we'll go ahead and play Oblivion that we drew earlier. And we'll heal 1 HP, not that that's going to matter for long. Because the top 2 cards are how we stacked the deck earlier. So these are the 2 cards from Attunement. These are both going to end up being +1 because they're damage. So we deal everything. We deal each target 1 of the revealed cards spell infernal damage. So we'll use that for 3. So everything takes 3. 3, 3. Akash'Thriya is down to 7. Wraith is down to 8. The Amp Cannon's toast. And Gloomweaver takes 4, because remember, where did I put the other revealed cards? Okay, here it is. Alright, so Gloomweaver, again, so the Zombie Servants both die, are both defeated, and Gloomweaver takes 4 because of the Nemesis. And then deals each non-hero target the other revealed cards, so Gloomweaver takes another 4 and goes down to 24. So 10. I'll have to go grab another 10. But yeah, now we're starting to get to a point where I'm trying to close the game out. But it is definitely coming down to the wire. Alright, so all 3 of those cards hit the bin. And then we will use their Astral Premonition, and we'll discard Mistbound. So top 2 cards of Gloomweaver's deck, 1 to the top, the other to the bottom. Sablepin, which destroyed one of their cards and dealt H damage, or another relic, Drum of Despair. I want this on the bottom. I can largely deal with the Sable Pin right now. So we'll take a quick look at the Sable Pin since it's going to be entering play during the villain turn. Actually, we saw this earlier, 9 HP. With the most cards in play, which by about a country mile will be Wraith. But, yeah, that's right. And then the flavor text on there, blinded by the vanity of power. Gloomweaver, Nightmist number 19. Alright, so that will do it for the... Okay, actually, we forgot to draw for turn. Nightmist draws. Starshield Necklace. At the end of your turn, you may discard a card. If you do, Nightmist regains that spell card's HP. Alright, I'm not sure how much healing we're going to need in the grand scheme, though. Yep, Nightmist took her damage from that. Now we'll move over to Fort Adamant for the environment turn. Alright, we're here for the environment turn. Hopefully we don't get anything too bad. We got a seat on top, so let's see what we draw here. Codename Highbrow, 7 HP, we saw this earlier. Whenever a non-subject target is destroyed, this card regains 2 HP. At the end of the environment turn, this card deals the 3 targets other than itself with the lowest HP 2 psychic damage. Alright, so that's at the end of the environment turn, and then 3 lowest 2 psychic. So we're probably going to need to deal with that before it pings Fanatic down. 3 targets with the lowest, so Fanatic's at 3. Wraith is at 6 and Akash'Thriya is at 5. Yeah, we need to deal with that pretty quickly. Then we'll move over to, actually we need to deal with a couple of things pretty quickly, but we'll move over to Gloomweaver. Alright, we're over to Gloomweaver. We left the Sable Pin on top for the card for the villain turn. By a country mile, that's Wraith. That'll be at the end of the turn. The most cards in play is Wraith. At the end of the turn, we have to destroy a card or take 4 psychic damage. Yuck. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright. Which actually I can probably deal with that, but I'm getting ahead of myself because it is now Wraith's turn, so let's move back down to her area. Alright, Wraith, we'll go ahead and start off your turn by playing a Mega Computer. Equipment. Reduce damage dealt by environment cards by 1. All the human knowledge and computation power joined in one machine. Tachyon, Freedom 5 Annual number 5. Alright, we definitely have a lot of cards in play, but... Alright, now we go into the power phase, where I will hit the Sable Pin for 5. Because I'll use Razor Ordnance as the first power. Then for the second power, I will hit the Sable Pin for another 3. Gloomweaver for 3. And Codename Highbrow for 3. And then Wraith will draw for turn. Another micro-targeting computer. Equipment limited, we have this in play already. And then at the end of the turn, the Sable Pin somehow survived all that. So Wraith has to destroy an equipment card, which I will destroy the micro-targeting computer because I just drew another one. And that's limited, so... Actually... No. I gotta protect her health. She's way low. But that will do it for Wraith, so let's move over to Fanatic. Alright, Fanatic. We're starting to try to close out this game, so let's see what you can do with that. Let's send you digging into your deck with Prayer of Desperation. Draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand, immediately end your turn. Let this not be the last breath your servant draws. Fanatic. A day in the life, Fanatic. So because we have 1 card in hand, we get to draw 5. 3, 4, 5. All right. Now, first card up. Divine Focus. At the start of every turn, we saw this earlier, but we didn't use it very much. Next up. Smite the Transgressor. We saw this earlier as well. 3. Another Smite the Transgressor. That's kind of annoying. It's not the card I was looking for. Divine Sacrifice. No, that's probably not something I'm going to use. Another Brutal Censure. We do get to go digging into her deck a little bit more, but that's not what I wanted to see at all. But that will do it for Fanatic. Let's move up to Akash'Thriya. Alright, so we're back with Akash'Thriya. Before we start the turn, once again, I forgot about Primeval Germination. The first time an environment card enters play each turn, so this is actually still from the environment turn. So we get this seed in play, because it's the top card of the environment deck. Creeping Mold. When this card is played from the environment deck, it deals up to 3 targets 2 toxic damage each. When this card is destroyed, either destroy an ongoing or environment card or discard a card. Alright, so unfortunately I can't really go back to that game state. So I have to act as the game state is now. So I'll take out the Sable Pin for for the first target, which does unfortunately heal Highbrow for 2, but I'm immediately going to hit that for 2 as well, so nothing changes there. And then I'll hit Gloomweaver for another 2 to bring him down to 19. That's one thing I find with this game is it's a lot of bookkeeping. There's a lot of stuff on here to remember. But anyway, now that we've got all that straightened out, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and play Earth's Attunement, which fortunately is a May effect. At the end of your turn, Akash'Thriya may deal herself 2 psychic damage. If she takes damage this way, shuffle the environment trash into the environment deck. Power, play the top card of the environment deck. You may destroy an environment card. Damage sustained, overwhelming. Organic material throughout circuits, shutting down. Omnitron 4, Freedom 5, number 786. Right, so for her power, I'm going to have a lot of powers in play here. So I'm going to use her Dormant Essence to move another Vitalized Thorn to the environment trash. Then we'll draw a card from that. Another Healing Pollen. Whenever this card is played from the environment deck, one hero target regains 4 HP. When this card is destroyed, draw a card and each hero target regains 1. Then draw for turn will be another Earth's Attunement, which we already have in play. Anyway, that will do it for Akash'Thriya. Now let's move over to Nightmist. Right, here's Nightmist. We'll go ahead and play her Starshield Necklace. At the end of your turn, you may discard a card. If you do, Nightmist regains that card's spell HP. It is a charm against the evil which lurks in your dreams. Nightmist, the Fabric of Despair, number 2. Alright, so we'll put that into play. And then for a power, we'll use her Attunement to fix her draw. Alright, first card up. Another Starshield Necklace, which we just played, and it's limited, so we can only have 1 in play. Mistfield Recovery. Shuffle a hero's trash into that hero's deck. We definitely have a lot of trash in here. Nightmist regains 1 HP for each 2 cards shuffled into that hero's deck. Immediately end your turn. And Mistform. Nightmist is immune to damage. You cannot play cards or use powers. You may draw an additional card during your draw phase. At the start of your turn, you may destroy this card. So I'm actually going to take the Mistfield Recovery here for turn. So I can do some healing with that. And then I'm going to discard Mists of Time to her Starshield Necklace, which will let me regain 3 HP. So that will do it for the hero turn. Now we go into the environment turn. Alright, environment turn time. What do we draw here? Oh boy. Another Bionic Patroller. At the end of the environment turn, this card deals the non-environment target with the second highest HP X energy damage, where X is the number of security cards in play plus 1. Alright, so 10 HP there. And then we have, what do we have? Primeval Germination, which lets us play or discard the top card of the environment deck. I think we're going to play the top card of the environment deck. Healing Pollen. When this card is played from the environment deck, one hero regains 4 HP. When this card is destroyed, draw a card and each hero target regains 1 HP. There, in that glowy cloud. That is not a rabbit. Blade Battalion Soldier, Mystery Comics number 514. Alright, so that's 3 HP. Now, who's going to regain 4 from the Healing Pollen entering play? I think Fanatic's going to. Because Fanatic is desperately low. 2, 4, 6... I mean, we're not all... None of us are in particularly good straits right now, but... She's in the worst trouble right now. But anyway. Alright, at the end of the environment turn... Okay, this card deals the 3 targets other than itself with the lowest HP 2 psychic damage, so... Fortunately, that's going at 2 seeds. And actually, Akash'Thriya is the 3rd lowest, so... Let me look here. Whenever a hero target, which Akash'Thriya is about to be, would be dealt damage by an environment card, you may redirect that damage to a primordial seed. So I think we'll redirect it to the Creeping Mold, which will destroy that. Then when this card is destroyed... Pardon the siren. When this card is destroyed, either destroy an ongoing or environment card, or discard a card. I think we're going to nail that Bionic Patroller, since that is an environment card. That way I don't have to worry about that. Alright, so that was a pretty productive environment turn. Now let's move back over to Gloomweaver. Alright. We're over here for Gloomweaver's turn. Just before we do, we did have to heal Highbrow for 4 HP because of destroying 2 targets other than codename Highbrow. So she's up to 6 HP now. But anyway, Gloomweaver's card for the turn. Indigo Pin. When this card enters play, place it next to the hero with the fewest cards in play. At the end of that hero's turn, that hero's player discards a card chosen randomly. Ah! I can't walk! What is happening? The Wraith. Mystery Comics 293. Alright, so this is actually going next to Fanatic, because Fanatic only has 2 cards in play to Wraith's 8, Nightmist 6, and Akash'Thriya's 5. So that's another 9 HP target. And then we have nothing at the end of the villain turn. So let's move back down. Actually, wait a second. No, actually that damage is reduced. I forgot about the mega computer. So 2. Alright, I'm not gonna. Alright, the Creeping Mold was about to bite it anyway, but the Healing Pollen is still at 1. Or still at 2. So now that we got that figured out, let's move down to Wraith. Alright, Wraith, we're starting to come down to it. So we're going to go ahead and play Trust Fund. Draw 4 cards, then discard 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. First up we have Throwing Knives, which is probably good discard fodder. Actually, almost anything right now is good discard fodder. Stunbolt, which we already have 2 of in play. Suture Self, that is not likely going anywhere. Wraith regains 3 HP. That is insanely good. And another Razor Ordnance. So I think we will discard the Throwing Knives and the Razor Ordnance. Alright, 2 powers then. Speaking of Razor Ordnance, we'll use that to hit codename Highbrow for 5. Then we'll use Throwing Knives. We'll use it on Highbrow first to take her out, so she stops healing. Then we'll take out the Healing Pollen, which means Akash'Thriya draws a card and everybody regains 1 HP. And every hero target regains 1 HP. So, Fanatic... I'm going to trade some of these out. I'm going to trade 5 of these singles out for Fanatic to bring her back to 8. And that's both the Wraith's powers. So she draws... another copy of Throwing Knives, not particularly welcome at the moment, but nothing I can do there. But that will do it for Wraith. Let's move over to Fanatic. Alright, so I think my main goal this turn is to try to protect Fanatic's hand if I can, especially if my draw is the card I'm looking for. So I'm hoping there's another Wrathful Retribution somewhere in the deck. But let's see if we can go find it. So we'll play another Brutal Censure. We'll target the Indigo Pin for 2 radiant damage, then draw a card. Unfortunately, actually, no, that's not the card I wanted to play. It was Smite the Transgressor I wanted to play. Played the wrong thing. So this lets me use an additional power this turn. I don't care as much about the draw as I do about being able to protect my hand. So Absolution will be my first power, and I'll hit this for 3 radiant, because why not? Which will bring that down to 4. Then I'll use Sacrosanct Martyr to deal 4 damage to Fanatic, and finish off the Indigo Pin. Because again, my goal here was to protect Fanatic's hand. And then the draw for turn will be... Consecrated Ground. Destroy an ongoing or environment card. Fanatic deals up to 3 targets 1 radiant damage each. So that's more AoE, which we could have used earlier in the game, but now we've got the board largely under control. So let's go ahead and move up to Akash'Thriya. Alright, we're going to make a very risky play with Akash'Thriya. If this goes haywire, I'm going to end up incapacitating her. If not, we could potentially set the table to finish the game in the next couple of rounds. But we're going to play Rapid Growth, which will shuffle the trash into the environment deck, the environment trash into the environment deck. We actually saw this earlier. Discard up to 6 cards from the top of the deck. Akash'Thriya deals herself and probably Gloomweaver X Toxic, where X is the number of cards I discard this way. Alright. Let's just hope this doesn't go haywire. Alright, we'll give it a cut. Then we'll discard 1. Not sorry to see that go. 2. Also not sorry to see that go. 3. Okay. 3 cards I am not sorry to see go at all. So that'll bring Akash'Thriya down to 3. And then we're going to hit Gloomweaver for 3 as well, bringing him down to 18. Alright, and then as a power, we will move another Healing Pollen over to the deck for using Dormant Essence. Draw from that. Another Noxious Pod, which lets you discard any number of cards and draw that many plus 1. And when this card is destroyed, it first deals up to 3 targets 1 toxic damage each, which is also known as 2 because of Thrashing Brambles. And then draw for turn. Another Thrashing Brambles. That will do it for Akash'Thriya this round. Let's move over to Nightmist. Alright, so Nightmist's turn is going to be pretty simple. So we're actually going to go ahead and play Mistfueled Recovery, which will heal her for 3 HP before any spell effects. So shuffle a hero's trash into that hero's deck. Nightmist gains 1 HP for every 2 cards. So we're actually going to shuffle... Whose trash do we... We're going to shuffle Fanatic's trash back in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another 6 HP for Nightmist. She's at 17, so she's going to go up to 23 on the exchange. And then her turn is over. So Nightmist can definitely take some damage. Can definitely take any highest effects damage for a while. So Fanatic's deck is getting reshuffled. Alright, we'll give that a cut. And again, that immediately ends Nightmist's turn, but what a turn she had, going back up to 23 HP. So that will do it for Nightmist. Let's move back over to Fort Adamant for the environment turn. Alright, the environment turn is going to give us a seed and another one on top. We have Vitalized Thorns. If this card was not played from the environment deck, except it's going to be, whenever a non-hero target deals damage to Akash'Thriya, this card deals that target 1 melee damage, aka 2, because of our Thrashing Brambles. When this card is destroyed, it first deals 1 target 3 projectile damage. A fight we will have. That much I am strong enough to do. Akash'Thriya, Scion Strike number 2. So we'll get our 3 HP for that. And then the first time an environment card, except that's a seed, so that's not really an environment card. Yeah, I don't think that's how it works. But anyway. Alright, so that will do it for the environment turn. Let's move over to Gloomweaver for the villain turn. Alright, here's Gloomweaver. I think now we're at a point where we're starting to look into again, we're definitely starting to look closer and closer into closing this game out. Let's grab the card for the villain turn. Accursed Acolyte, 6... Oh boy. Yikes. 6 HP. At the end of the villain turn, this card deals each hero target H-2 fire and H-2 infernal damage. Oh, that could be a problem. Alright, so 6 HP, and that's an end of the villain turn. Yuck. Alright, so we might have just... So we need to take this thing out pronto. Unfortunately, at the end of the villain turn, this card deals each hero target H-2 fire. So Akash'Thriya and Fanatic both will not survive that, which is unfortunate, because I was hoping to ride them to victory. Nightmist goes down to 19. So Fanatic and Akash'Thriya are both going to end up incapacitated. Their turns will be slightly different. Then Wraith will survive at 3 HP. Fortunately, Wraith also has combat stance in play, which will deal 2 to the Cursed Acolyte. But we do need to deal with that thing, because that's going to take Wraith out next. Anyway, that will do it. So speaking of Wraith, let's move down for her turn. Alright, so Wraith's first card, it's a good thing I drew this last turn. Suture Self. The Wraith regains 3 HP. Gah! I've had better days. The Wraith. A day in the life, the Wraith. So that brings her up to 6 HP, which is very welcome. Gives me a little bit of breathing room. So she won't just die on the next attack, but I don't think that Cursed Acolyte's going to get a next attack, because we have 2 powers to use. So we have the... So first we're going to use the throwing knives to hit the Vitalized Thorns for 3, which will destroy that. And then that will let us hit a target for 3 projectile before we take it out, which will hit the Cursed Acolyte for 3. With that, and we still have 2 more throws of the throwing knives, which the second one will go at the Cursed Acolyte for 3, which will take that out, pull a Zombie Servant out. I'm just going to leave the Zombie Servant in there because that would be the third target that we throw the throwing knives at. And then for the second power, we're going to use Razor Ordnance at Gloomweaver for 5. Alright, so that brings Gloomweaver down to 11. Wraith will draw. Throat Jab. The Wraith deals 1 target 2 melee damage. The target dealt damage this way can't deal damage until the start of your next turn. That would have been helpful probably about a turn or two ago. But anyway, that will do it for Wraith. Now we get to take a look at Fanatic for the first incapacitated hero turn. Alright, so we're over here for Fanatic's turn, but what I'm doing right now is I'm actually taking out the seeds from the environment deck for Akash'Thriya because she got incapacitated. So we have 2 incapacitated heroes, which means their turn is using one of the cards on this side. So we'll give what's left of the environment deck a quick shuffle. Actually, I'm going to shuffle it like this. Give it a cut. Alright, so on the back side of Fanatic, I was hoping to ride Fanatic to victory, but so we have 3 abilities that a hero can use on their turn. 1 hero may play a card, 1 hero regains 2 HP, or select a hero. Increase the next damage dealt by that hero by 1 or 2, by 2. So for Fanatic, the incapacitated side, I think we're going to increase the next damage Wraith does by 2. Actually, no. I want to make sure Wraith can survive, so I'm going to have her regain 2 HP instead. Plus, we're going to be able to do. Plus, Wraith is going to be doing a lot of damage on her turn anyway. Maybe enough to win the game right here. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself on that. I'll have to cut that out. I'm getting a little ahead of myself on being able to win the game right here. So that will do it for Fanatic. Let's move up to Akash'Thriya, who is also incapacitated. Alright, here's Akash'Thriya's environment card. Her incapacitated abilities: destroy an environment card. Until the start of your next turn, reduce damage dealt to and by environment targets by 2. And then select an environment target. Until the start of your next turn, that target is indestructible. The only thing that's really relevant is the middle ability. So, until your next turn, reduce damage dealt to and by environment targets by 2. So we'll mark that with the start of the next turn. That will do it for Akash'Thriya incapacitated. Let's move over to Nightmist. Alright, here's Nightmist. Unfortunately, she has no cards in hand, so I think we're just going to skip her play and power phases and just draw 2 cards to start refilling her hand. First up, we find another Star Shield necklace, which we've played earlier, and Mist Form. We'll leave her hand as is, a very quick turn for Nightmist, and we'll move over to the environment. Alright, here's Fort Adamant once more. The environment card we draw is General Armstrong. Okay, this is very welcome. Reduce damage dealt to this card and hero targets by environment targets by 1. Whenever a subject enters play, each player may draw a card. At the end of the environment turn, this card deals the villain target with the lowest HP 2 projectile damage. There's no way I'm letting you get your hands on this data. Keep Lieutenant Vance out of this. The general's shout sounded over the intercom, followed by a gunshot. Unfortunately, we did choose Akash'Thriya's ability to reduce damage dealt. But he is actually going to probably be very helpful, provided we end up with another round. But I'm not all the way sure we do, actually. We might not. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So let's move over to Gloomweaver for the next villain turn. Here's Gloomweaver. Once again, we've cleared the board. So as long as this isn't anything terribly dangerous, I think we can probably close the game out this round. Profane Zealot. Reduce damage dealt to villain targets by 1. Whenever a target other than this card is destroyed, this card regains HP. The Gloom of Death serves the Master in many ways. Death Rattle. The Fabric of Despair number 3. Alright, so it doesn't do anything, it just is going to reduce our damage dealt that we're able to deal to Gloomweaver. But I don't think that's going to be around very long, so let's move down to Wraith and see what we can do with that. We're back with Wraith. I didn't realize I destroyed my micro-targeting computer earlier. I think I was going to rewind to that, but I decided not to. But anyway, we're going to play another micro-targeting computer. Anywho. Alright, so first power use is going to be the Razor Ordnance, which will take the Profane Zealot out. And then we will hit Gloomweaver with the... Actually, we'll hit it with a Stun Bolt for 3. So we'll bring him down to 8. And reduce the damage that he deals by 1. Not that he's doing any damage right now. Right now it's basically just a race to kill him before he draws something really dangerous and kills us. And then we're damage dealt -1 on Gloomweaver. Unfortunately we have help for that as well. But anyway, that will do it for Wraith. Let's move over to Fanatic for another incapacitated turn. Alright, here's Fanatic for another turn, for another incapacitated turn. And this time we're going to use her first ability to let Wraith play a card. So Wraith is going to play Throat Jab. Deal 1 target 2 melee damage. The target dealt damage this way can't deal damage until the start of your next turn. An opportunity well taken is always a weapon of advantage. The Wraith. Freedom 5, number 299. Alright, so that's another 2 damage on Gloomweaver, bringing him down to 6, and he can't deal damage until Wraith's next turn. Which means we probably have this one pretty well locked up, barring anything crazy. So that will do it for Wraith, or for Fanatic. Let's move over to Akash'Thriya. Alright, here's Akash'Thriya for another incapacitated player turn. This time we're going to make General Armstrong indestructible. Because he's actually going to be helping us here. So that will do it for Akash'Thriya. Let's move over to Nightmist. We're back here with Nightmist. I think we're going to skip her play phase because I don't have anything I really want to play right now. I'm going to discard Star Shield to Astral Premonition. Mostly because I want to make sure Gloomweaver isn't going to surprise us so we can close this game out. So top 2 cards. A Crimson Pin, which we saw that earlier, and a Grimoire of Curses. At the start of the villain turn, each player may discard 1 card. Then Gloomweaver deals each hero target X infernal damage, where X is H minus the number of cards discarded this way. I think we're actually going to leave this on top. And we'll look at the flavor text for that. Now, Children of the Gloom, let us meditate on these horrors. Cult Leader Massey, the Fabric of Despair number 1. I'm mostly leaving that on top because we'll be able to ignore that and just kill Gloomweaver. But that will do it for Nightmist, who actually draws a card for turn. Oblivion, we saw this earlier. Anyway, that will do it for the turn. That will do it for the heroes. Let's move over to Fort Adamant. We're back here with Fort Adamant. The card off the environment deck is Codename Radioactivist. This is a subject. Whenever it's dealt damage, increase the next damage dealt by 1. At the end of the environment turn, deals the non-environment target with the second highest HP 2 toxic damage. And that is a subject, so each player does get to draw a card from General Armstrong. Alright, so that's end of turn, which means Nightmist and Wraith will both get to draw. Wraith will draw. Trust Fund, draw 4 cards, then discard 2. Nightmist draws. Planar Banishment. Reveal the top card of your deck. Nightmist deals herself that card's spell infernal damage, and then may destroy up to that card's spell, ongoing, and or environment cards. Put the revealed cards into your trash. We saw this earlier in the game. Alright, end of the environment turn. Okay, reduce damage dealt to this card and hero targets by environment targets by 1. So he's actually going to deal the villain target with the lowest HP 2 projectile damage, which is 1 because of the Wraith's Mega Computer. So that's 1. Gloomweaver's down to 3. And at the end of the environment turn, this card deals the non-environment target with the second highest HP, which would be Wraith, 2 toxic. But General Armstrong reduces damage dealt to hero targets by 1, and the Wraith Mega Computer reduces environment damage by 1, so Wraith basically takes nothing. Let's move back over to Gloomweaver. We're back here with Gloomweaver, and we left the Grimoire of Order of Curses on top, but that won't be going off now because we've skipped over start of turn, and now we're playing the card from the villain deck. There's nothing from there were never any relics in the villain deck or in the villain trash because I was trying to keep those mostly at bay. I managed to pull that off. So now Throat Jab goes away. So does the damage. Oh. That'll go away at the start of Wraith's next turn, which we will move into now. So let's move back down to Wraith. Okay, Wraith, just for sake of completeness, we'll go ahead and play another Stun Bolt out, since those are not limited. And then for her power phase, we'll start off by using Razor Ordnance to deal Gloomweaver the last 3 points of damage. Which means we have won in quite a nail-biter. Anyway, let's move back up top and we'll wrap this game up. What a nail-biter that was, huh, folks? We lost 2 heroes on that. Wraith was down toward death's doorstep, and Nightmist was in decently good shape, but I wasn't getting to her attack spells. But fortunately, we did manage to pull that one out of the fire and win. So, next week, I've been putting this announcement off for a while because I was trying to make sure that there was no problems with getting the product I needed. But it turns out there are going to be problems getting the product I need. So, next week we are going to start the summer campaign in Arkham Horror the card game. So we're going to start the Circle Undone, which is going to be our summer campaign. We'll start that off with the Prelude scenario, Disappearance at the Twilight Estate. Thank you for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you like what you see and haven't already. If I made any mistakes, please let me know in the comments. I try to catch them in editing, but I'm only human, and I can't really fix them here anyway. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.